Welcome to South Australia's football park. It's a grand final day. The Dogs take on Port Adelaide. Their first time here, the Dogs. What you're seeing is a football park becoming packed. It's known as edited animation. 500 still frames put together very quickly with the wizardry of the ABC technology. And what a fantastic scene that is. 45,000 people. It was packed as of Tuesday this week. And that's how we're able to bring you this live telecast. And as I said, John Cale is 22 years in. He's 9 grand finals or premierships as a coach. Alan Stewart, nil. And there's a litany of great players that have gone before Central Districts who've here today, very emotional. And one of them is a former skipper, Stephen Trigg.
Neville, good afternoon, and good afternoon everyone. It's going to be a great game. Yes, over 30 years of trying Central District, their 31st year of competition.
Yep.
And they've had some great names that have tried in the past that have played for the Bulldogs, people like John Platten, Peter Jonas, John Duckworth, Gilbert McAdam won the Magarey in 1989. So, yeah, they've tried, and they'll be very emotional looking for a win today.
Just quickly, overwhelming stat, Port Adelaide, a number of players in many premierships, Central District's none.
Well, it is. There's lots versus none, but I don't think it matters a whole lot so long as Central District can get away to a good start. That's the key. In the second semi, they gave away a 6-goal head start, and that was critical.
Okay, well, the weather here at Football Park is just a little overcast. And not that these players can see it. In the locker rooms at Port Adelaide, it's with their courtesy, we're there. And a very experienced team. Emotion, control and adrenaline is the key words there, Steve.
Yes, they'll be very relaxed. It's very familiar down there, and with a Port Adelaide person is David Mackay.
Huge expectation in this grand final. Port's been there, done that, you know what it's all about.
Yeah, well, our guys, most of them had experience, and it's Central's first one, so they'll be looking to test us early. We'll be looking to test them, and yeah, it should be huge.
Well, how do you test them in the opening few minutes of a grand final?
Oh, there'll be a lot of niggling and bumping and pushing a few words probably said, and just to test the nerves of a few guys.
You must be bitterly disappointed that you're not fit and can't play. You've played in a few.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a disappointing year this year, and a bit frustrated today, but still, you know, I'm sure the guys would go out and do the right thing, and there's a couple other disappointed guys around the place too.
Now, the week's rest, it's been good for some of the older players in particular. It must be very good for them. They must be cherry red.
Yeah, we had a few niggling injuries, and but that week's rest was perfect, just what we needed, I think, and the guys have come up really good and tough, ready for today.
And what will Johnny Cale say to the players just before they run out?
Oh, he's a master at these pre-grand final, pre-match speeches, and he gets everyone revved up and sort of, you know, walking on thin air. You know, he'll get the guys pumped up.
And the Dogs have lost a few players during the week, and one of them is Peter Green. Here's David Mackay with him.
Peter, posterior ligament puts you out of the grand final. You must be bitterly disappointed.
Yeah, I am disappointed, David. You worked all year for this game, and not to be there is a huge disappointment.
Have you spoken with Jimmy Wind or Potts?
Yeah, I've spoken to both of them. I've spent a bit of time with them this week, and they're both bitterly disappointed as well.
Tell us about the atmosphere this week at the club, training, what it's been like.
Well, the players have been treating it just like any other week, as you would any game, and Stewie's kept it pretty low key, but the supporters have absolutely had a good time, I think, this week.
Now, the physical expectation of this game is big. What's the preparation for the amount of physical activity that'll go on early?
I think it'll be very hard early, especially in the middle. Putting pressure on Port from the first bounce is a priority, I think, and it'll be crucial for the outset of the game.
Making history today, your first crack at a flag, has that put any added pressure on the players?
No, I don't think so. I think they're just at the task to win, and just like you would any other game.
And here they are, the parachuters from 4 kilometres, 100 k's an hour. Graham Ricketts and Tony McAvoy. And what an experience, Stephen.
Yes, Tony McAvoy's the man with the central streamers blazing away behind there, and he has over 2,000 jumps. Not the Tony McAvoy I know from Lindsay Park, I guess. If in fact it is, he's more of a lunatic than I thought he was, jumping up from 4,000 feet.
And with the Port Adelaide jumper is Graham Ricketts. And he's 42 years of age. He's one of the most experienced skydivers. A couple of thousand skydives to his name. And in July this year, led the Australian parachute display team on tour in Malaysia. And there's the excitement of grand final day. What a fantastic event this is. Full stadium, lots of emotion.
And the Port Adelaide banner just went up. We'll get another look at it as it goes up when the Port boys run through it. But it said, proud to be part of SA football as one parachutist comes right down on the mark. Graham Ricketts has done very well.
Yes, they're fantastic, aren't they? We see it a fair bit these days, but the technology behind some of these parachutes is quite amazing too. They're just like high-performance motor cars.
Now, is this going to be an omen? Who's going to get closest to the cross down there? The Bulldog coming in, Tony McAvoy. Just a little off beam, but he's down safely.
Yes. And you're enjoying your sky jumping lately, Steve, are you?
Oh, look, most days I can get out, I'll jump out of a plane at 4,000 feet and just leave the parachute pull until as long as I can.
Okay, well, I don't know whether you can feel it at home, but the excitement, the build up here is just absolutely unbelievable. And this is part of it, Steve, isn't it? Grand final day, barbecues in the car park, people getting dressed up, and everybody, even older people getting into the action.
There's an amazing euphoria about it. There always is with Port Adelaide, but with Central District in particular, they were saying that win, lose or draw, they expect in excess of 15,000 people back at the club tonight, maybe 20 and 25. So it's a bit hard to know exactly what beverages you should be putting on for that number of people.
And plenty happening in the SANFL and right around Australia in football at the moment. David Mackay caught up with the SANFL Executive Commissioner, Lee Wicker.
Well, it's been an incredible year for the SANFL, hasn't it? The crowds have been up, they've been well supported.
It's been an outstanding year, David. The 5th year of the Crows in the competition, and to be here today with a total sellout, I think it's the culmination of one of the best years we've had for 5 or 6 years.
First time we've ever had a sellout, first time we've ever had two joint Magarey medalists.
Absolutely, I think history has been made throughout the year. Our attendance are up also, as you point out, joint Magarey medalists. The coverage that Channel 2 has given us has been outstanding, culminating last week with a rating of 27. And from the league's point of view, we're delighted with football in the state, and we hope today tops off a fantastic year.
It's been a busy year. We've had the blood rule, we've had 3 umpires come in, South have been relocated to Noarlunga. You've had everything going on.
Well, there's been a lot of new innovations, David, and I suppose some controversy, but all in all, I think we can, as a South Australian community, be satisfied with football in the state for 1995.
Now, Port this year won the licence for the AFL. We're not sure whether they'll go in next year. Norwood wanted the Crows to relocate to the parade. You've had some difficult decisions to work around, including the merger issue.
Certainly have, and the merger issue is one that we want to be fairly proactive on after today. It's important for South Australian football, as it is in Victoria, for 2 teams to merge, to allow that second licence to come in and further consolidate football in the state.
And you couldn't be happier with Central playing in their first grand final in this maybe the last year that the SANFL got all the teams participating.
David, I think that's been a primary result for the quick sellout this year, and it's a history-making grand final, and we look forward to a close one.
And that's Lee Wicker, the Executive Commissioner of the SANFL. He's been a pretty busy boy over the past few years, and the balloons go up the first time we've seen them on an October day in a grand final. And what a fantastic, hear the emotion behind us. I can tell you it is absolutely sensational, and I haven't heard this noise at Football Park for about 4 years, before the Crows.
Not since West Ham played Liverpool. It sounds like we're at an English soccer game with the Central's charters up and around the ground. Look at that for a great shot. The balloon's just scooting up past the light towers, and it is a great feeling. The sun's just starting to peek through as well.
Port Adelaide and Central have met 4 times this year. It's 3-1, Steve, and Central are yet to beat Port in a final. They're 7-0 against Port in finals.
Well, I think the most critical time was that second semi-final. They got nervous, they were a little uneasy about it. They came out and they gave away a 6-goal head start, and that was very hurtful. Well, they rattled home and they lost by 2 points. Port Adelaide, and here they come.
56th time. John Cale's been there 22 years. He played in 4, he's coached 9, and he's only ever lost 1 in his first year in 76 against Odie, who coached an all-time record of 10. Cale will hit that today. It could be history for Cale.
Yes, it's an amazing record. They just get blurted out, but it is an amazing record. And Clive Waterhouse sits at the front there, the blonde bombshell.
He could explode today, Steve. This could be a day in his life.
Well, it's going to be exciting whichever way it comes about, but I was just going to say about the banners there. You saw the Port banner. We didn't see Central run through. They had up on theirs a little saying that Alan Stewart's fond of: those who invest most are last to surrender. So what a last reminder as they hit the deck. It's not a bad idea.
Well, we've talked a lot about stats today. We've talked about how many times Port have been there. We've talked about how little Central have won in finals. But at the end of the day, Steve, finals are about just how big your heart is, how much you can invest in yourself and self-control. David Mackay is on the ground. We've got a coin toss about to happen. What's the atmosphere like there, David?
Fellas, out in the middle here with me, Glenn Kilpatrick and Gary McIntosh. Glenn, you get to toss the coin today. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, it must be a great thrill.
Yeah, I'll always remember it.
Well, think of it. You just stand here, absorb the atmosphere, standing out here on grand final day. It must feel enormous.
Yeah, I'd like to be out here, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, well, now we've got to toss the coin, but the players aren't here. So, Gary, just congratulations on your Magarey medal win. We're just waiting for the skippers to come over so that we can toss the coin, and they'll be here in a moment. How does it feel being out in the middle and not playing?
Not good, is it?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. It's one of the alien feelings I suppose you wouldn't want to feel.
Yeah, not the right colours anyway, Eddie, I know that.
Now, I'm glad you got dressed up. You look pretty good for the grand final.
Thanks, mate, you're not bad yourself.
Who gets to toss the coin?
Oh, Glenn, for sure.
Glenn is? Well, Glenn, just back to you. Have you got the coin handy?
Yeah, it's in the pocket.
Now, I want you to give me the coin after, because we're going to auction that for charity next year.
Alrighty.
Now, the players are here, so let's come over and let's get organised. All the best, Rog. Righto.
Once you've got the call.
And Glenn, Roger coins. Tim Pfeiffer picks up the coin. It's a tail, and Roger Girdham wins the toss. So Roger Girdham has won the toss and is kicking to the right of Screenfellas, which is into about a 1 to 2 goal breeze.
I'll introduce a very close friend and commentator of mine, Michael Ace, premiership player, Magarey medalist. And Michael, I can remember standing on this ground. One of the most emotional moments, apart from running around it after a win, is standing there during the national anthem.
No question about that, Neville, and yes, it is a wonderful day for football. Standing out there with a crowd, a capacity crowd, it really is marvellous. And no matter if you're not playing, you can't help but get excited in what should be a great day for football.
Michael, what's in the players' minds right now?
Well, they'll be settled now, Neville. They're on the ground. They're looking forward to it. They've got the nerves really out of the system after being in the change rooms probably for a couple of hours before the game. So they'll just be talking, knowing what plan they're going to do. You see Roger Delaney there with the helmet on after that injury that he sustained a few weeks back. They'll be just settled down, can't wait for that first bounce, and then they'll be right into it.
Michael, the first 10 minutes, it's absolutely vital, isn't it? It could be the difference today.
No question about that, and Port Adelaide always start well. The Bulldogs, as you've said, first grand final in 31 years, they would look to a good start. And interesting to note, Roger Girdham winning the toss, kicking against the breeze, and we talked about it last week. That's not a bad move, kicking against the breeze. They do start well. That commitment early is what's expected.
Okay, keep to your seats. This is going to be an absolute beauty. The 1995 SANFL Grand Final, the Magpies and the Bulldogs for their first. Your commentary team is Michael Ace, David Mackay, and here's Stephen True.
Well, there's no better roar in sport. Have a listen to it. The Central's chant went up 10 minutes before the teams came out. And when this ball gets held up, you'll hear it again. ABC Sport bringing you the SANFL Grand Final of 95. Tim Pfeiffer, head down, tail up, and up goes the ball. Arnold from the left and Mead from the right. And I can tell you that big Mark Conway's gone to the interchange bench, and they've got Michael Wakeman at full forward. Girdham's tackled. Schwartz in the middle, so too is Darcy. And David, they close it down. Expect some fireworks early.
Well, there's been 2 big blowouts early in the season. There were over 10 goals in their first couple of encounters, but what a ripper it was earlier in the final series. It was only 2 points.
Bounce down just inside that centre square. Arnold across the top, but Rohan Smith on centre wing sits back and gives it to a co-wingman in Darcy. Carter, 1 step forward, gets it off the side of the boot, and Reimers takes a good mark at half-back.
Reimers from defence goes along to the centre position. And that is a fine grab. Daniel Healy, another one of those Bulldog left footers, delivers the ball beautifully on the lead. Ingerson ignores, he gets back into it, sitting in the spot, can't quite grab it. Beautifully done, McGowan, quickly thrown to Ingerson, can he kick it? No, he can't. The crowd goes up. Regis is the first behind for the day.
North East is picking up Ingerson. Delaney playing with the head guard is picking up Wakeland. Wakeland's moved to full forward. They need goals, the Bulldogs. They've changed their side around.
All for the better. Wakeland to full forward, alongside Ingerson. The Delaney kick straight down the middle corridor. Carries the pack, falls into the arms of Carter. Listen to the roar on centre wing. Carter's incisive kick goes inside half forward. Lee attacks the football with some fervour, as he always does, and charging through. Tony Malakillis couldn't take it. Lee's in there also. And Port Adelaide close it down to give themselves another chance.
Smith has been picked up by Hereda. Pretty predictable, that one. And Hodges has Windsor.
The bounce down. Port Adelaide into attack. Darren Smith to do the knock-ruck work. Got it well to Malakillis. Scott Lee just holds it up. And Scotty Lee, 32 years of age, the 6th oldest player in the SANFL.
Second oldest here today, Aishi, behind Stephen Williams.
Smith, good take out of there. West wants to get into it early. Arnold quickly out, but intercepted by Melachellis. And Girdham, doesn't he get in hard? Commits it to every contest. Now Melachellis, the tackling is ferocious. Throws it out as far as Schwert. Will go over the boundary line. And the doggies are right into it.
Talk about the tackling. 49 Central had last week against Norwood. They lassoed and they crunched them. Again today they need the same presence. Boundary throw in, far side. Darren Smith doing battle with Arnold. Plenty of Bulldogs in there. Stephen Schwert to Arnold. Beautiful smother. The little 1%ers will make a difference. West around the body, now inside half forward. But a man who can have an impact on a game is Hugh Ryan as he takes the mark. Decides to switch it, finds some space. Windsor will be run down by Scott Hodges, gets inside fairly easily. And then the left leg with some poise is okay. Lewis picked up by Lees, as David told you. Darcy just picked off by Laird. Mead and Port Adelaide now to challenge.
Girdham to Williams, got to get tackled by Girdham. Absolutely sensational tackle.
Well, what about this? Look at the tackle there. Now the skipper, remember, he's got about 15 stitches in his head from last week.
Lees takes a great grab going the wrong way, hands it off to Northeast, straight down the middle of the ground. Anderson is on the ground, can't take it. Herrera throws it quickly out to Lee. The Dogs checking well. Short kick to Schwert. Beautiful tackle by Melachellis. The crowd were holding the ball. Now Anderson drives long. Scotty Hodges, 3 metres clear. Can he control it? No, he can't. And he's swamped by Windsor and Lee. It's loose, too high. And West will take the kick.
Yes, he went in hard. West gathered the ball, but he was going to ground as he caught one high. But the umpires are going to pick them up like that early. Just make sure the players don't get silly about this.
Robbie West, hard against the boundary line, right forward pocket. 4.5 minutes in and Central have the only score. Darren Mead provides an option and then gets out of that arc of 50 metres. 26-year-old West has a look. Will take a magnificent kick from there. He's missed and squared it away. At the 4.5 minute mark, it's 1 point apiece.
Robbie West averaged 24 disposal this year. Equals second in the McGarry medal. Pivotal for Port Adelaide, being picked up by Schwert.
Kick out by Windsor is called back by the umpire.
That's nerves, isn't it? Now, he's played enough senior football, this fellow. He's played over 20 games for the Brisbane Bears. And he stepped over the line a good, half a metre.
Could be telling. The Magpies would like to get the first major on the board. Over the top was Arnold. Did it well.
Well, that's the right thing to do. Just lets the defenders settle down, lets them reorganise. It's nervous times. We're only 5.5 minutes in, the nerves are flying, and Arnold did exactly the right thing. Just lets everybody regroup.
Quick kick out. Not a good kick by Melachellis. Intercepts. Williams breaks loose. Now Anderson on the left foot. Can he? No, he can't. So the tackling by the Bulldogs, not a good kick from defence under pressure. Were the Central District's backline, and Port registered the second behind.
Windsor brings it back into play, too far. Darcy's got it. His immediate opponent is Stevens.
Now they're kicking into the breeze. They've got to work it out. Their set plays have got to be a lot better than that. Port Adelaide have, I was down in the middle, and I would suggest it's a 1-goal breeze, and Darcy loves kicking goals. He just swallows them.
Anthony Darcy will kick from right on 50 and jags it. So Central are being led off. Port Adelaide are 4 points at the 6.5 minute mark of the first term of the grand final, and Central are 1 point.
Been another very good recruit for the Magpies. Anthony Darcy, a bit underrated.
Oh yes, he's been a wonderful player, over 20 disposals per game. Not bad considering he missed a lot with injury.
Windsor this time decides to go right down the middle. Reimers across the top. McKinnon can't this time. David Green's into the side again today. And so too is that man Ginniver. Big clash of bodies. Lee crunched it, taken off hands by Stephen Williams, and they've got another behind.
Now Scott Lee gave a commitment to the team there. He was 25 yards away. He could have just said, well, it's not my problem. But he really committed himself, and look at it here. Makes good groundage and went bang. And that sets the tone.
The Magpies peppering the goal front at the moment. Marty McKinnon just drifts across the front, takes a fine grab. Goes to the centre wing position in front with a beautiful punch by Wilson. Stevens runs it over the line, and young Michael Wilson has been another great player for the Magpies in his first year.
Stevens on Darcy. Healy on Smith on the other wing.
And McGowan in the middle.
So far.
Stevens, half forward right, has a look at Ingerson and finds him. Ingo's dropped it. Did he get a push? The umpire said yes. Anthony Ingerson, number 57, has it smothered, just a little laconic. Anthony gets inside, still can have a look. Handballs across the top. They're trying to find some space and get something open. Stevens around the body, into the breeze. It carries, but not quite far enough. Darren Mead, always influential, but he'll be brought back. Players continually do that. They're fighting for the ball on the far side, two immediate opponents, Healy and Smith, but if you take the mark between the point post and the goal post, David, you have to kick it out between them.
Yes, once the umpire brings the man back on the mark, the rule is that you have to kick over the mark. Now, at this level, they should know about that.
Mead, Delaney all by himself, makes a great grab. He's got Lees. Roger normally pinpoint perfect, not on this stage, but traps it well. He has the run in Northeast, and don't the Port Adelaide backline do that well? Play on, says the umpire. Carter. Waterhouse gave it to him. On the lead is Scotty Hodges. He can't take it. Mopped up beautifully by McKinnon, and the Bulldog defence all by himself is McGowan.
Ricky McGowan loves playing in the centre, makes some space. Couple of bounces and waits until something comes on offer, then gets the leg. Now that's why he held it, because there was just nothing there, and Tim Ginniver takes it at half back. Ginniver short. Malla 2, Spiro Malakelis to George Fiacci, down to within 10 metres. Bit of pressure on Windsor down there. Thought he might have come back to grandstand side, but in his eyes he had Hugh Reimers at half back. So the game just starting to settle. Central a little lucky early that Port have been offline. Here's Girdham in the middle. Little captain Kamikaze. Half back to around about half forward. Mead's front spot, should take it and does. Does it beautifully. Gets away to dispatch to George Fiacci. Loves playing down the ground. Not taken by McKinnon. Could be hurtful. Around comes Anderson. Gets it to within 10 metres once again. Hodges, not quite. And across the line.
I just noticed that Marty McKinnon, who was so wonderful in last year's final series, has played a lot of football for the Crows this year, but he's missed 2 or 3 attacks on the ball, and he just needs to take them a little crisper and cleaner.
And live at Football Park, the Bulldogs have a shot at their first premiership, but in the meantime, Clive Waterhouse around the body puts through the Magpies first and his first.
Pretty reasonable debut season, isn't it? 49 goals, 27 he has this year in 24 games, a rookie. And he's played all bar 1 game for the Magpies this year, and that he spent in the reserves when John Cale dropped him. Now, he normally likes to kick on the left. That one was on the right, and he is maturing as a footballer.
Port Adelaide pinged away at the goals 5 times before they got a major score. 10.5 minutes into the first quarter. Bulldogs are running into each other. McKinnon. A very, very quick kick to the far side. It was a very high kick as well. Cook, left hand. Stephen Schwert. Inside half forward. Now once again, 2 boys will clash, and Cotton does magnificently well to take it. They were committed to the ball, and Cotton felt it, the full wrath of that.
And there is 2 full-blooded commitments. One was Scott Lee, the other one, young Jared Cotton. Look at him. Wakeland took the big fly over the top, and he backed into the pack. No regard for his own personal safety at all.
In the kidney, and that would have hurt.
Well, it just opened him up, didn't it? I've got a fear that he might have a groin problem or a knee problem out of that when he hit the ground.
You only hope that he's not seriously injured, because they need his goal-scoring potential. They haven't kicked a lot of goals so far in this final series, and they needed him.
And he's done well to get up and walk and get moving. A rousing reception to that piece of movement. 1-5 to 1 point, and we're now 11.5 minutes into the first term. Just have another look at how this happened. David told you the commitment was there from both players, but this is where I think he was hurt. Not so much there, but where he hit the ground with that left leg. Awkward looking kick. Out of bounds on the full.
Well, he did the right thing. He took his time, and Foster's letting him know about it too. That is a difficult thing to do. He's extended the knee. Took a great deal of time to settle, but still missed.
Mead with the ball. Fiacci's been prominent early. Back to Mead. The Magpies out of the fence, but straight to it. And Stephen Schwert into the sides. Last week on the bench, Craig Potter unfortunately hasn't come up. The kick wide, beautiful punch by Mead.
Now, I said earlier that Schwert was picking up West in the middle. I think you'll find it's David Green who's got the job. Interesting move by Alan Stewart.
The boundary throw-in, centre wing. The Magpies a good start. Schwert actually does the ruck work against Mead. Beautiful tap back by Cook. Carter's in there, can't do anything with it. And Mellikellis and Cook just tangle and over the line again.
Yes, it is an interesting move. Big crowd in. Obviously, it's a packed house. Around about 45,000 people. But that move of Green onto West is going to be critical because West has hurt Central every time. Here he is, like that. If it's not running, it's dispatching a quick handball, a reflex from the pack. Stephen Williams does equally well to Mellikellis, dodging and weaving, a little bit of shadow boxing, gets it away to West. This is where he hurts. He gets in front, he gets inside of 50, has a look at the goals and finishes it off. He can play, Robbie West. And at the 13.5-minute mark of this first term of the grand final from Football Park, Port Adelaide set up a 16-point lead.
And watch where he starts now. He's in the middle there. Watch him go. Mella gets it. He's inboard, calls for it. He's made at that point about 25 metres from a dead start. And he ran his full measure too, by the way. And he just got to 50. I thought the umpire might have pinged him for running too far, but he backed himself in and drilled it from 51 metres.
The Magpies, 2 goals on the board. The Doggies yet to register a major. Out of the Tetris, Green can't get it out. They're picking up the crumbs well. Ginniver it was to Darcy, around the body. A Raider can't take it back up on McKinnon, spins out of trouble beautifully and will go short and find Remus.
Yeah, that's better, actually. That's the clean take that I was talking about.
And
McKinnon.
Scotty Lee just taken too high. Got themselves in a bit of strife there.
Darcy gave no measure, did he? Still or die now.
Scott Stevens giving the ball back to Scott Lee. And Scotty Lee, the veteran, the agitator, comes towards centre wing. Big mark by Lewis. They need plenty of that from him at centre half forward. By his own admission, he's been a little out of sorts throughout the year, but he's going to play a big part in this game.
Well, he hasn't done too bad this year, even though he's missed a lot with injuries. Only played 17 games. He's averaged, what, nearly 7 marks a game.
That rule annoys me.
Why?
Well, for it to be a mark, the ball has to carry 10 metres. And a game can change when it dribbles off a boot like that. Surely if it carries 10 metres, then it's the same thing. But if it doesn't, it shouldn't be. This is a McGowan. Ginniver's in there working hard, as you'll expect. Lots of that today. Waterhouse threw it and is pinged.
Well, he had all the time in the world to get up to Clive Waterhouse. Scott Stevens goes to Ingerson. 2 grabs, no, can't get it. Beautifully done northeast. They have the backup. Fiacci just spins out of trouble. Doing it well, the Port defence, as they have all year. Northeast. Back to the centre position, centre forward, and Scotty Lee can't take it. It was Stephen Williams that just chimed in front. They'll hold it up 60 metres in front of the Port Adelaide goal.
Half a dozen premierships for Stephen. So too for that man, Darren Smith. 5, in fact. Half a dozen if they get this one. Ginniver the same. Forward he goes. Scott Lee sits in front. He'll do his very best to thwart that effort to get 6 premierships under the belt as McGowan comes away from half-back. Well done by Cotton, who's recovered nicely.
What a good battle that is, Cotton and Wilson.
Number 44, Jared Cotton. Pretty ordinary kick. Put Darren Mead under some pressure though when they arrived. The cavalry got there. One of them was Tim Cook, puts it up there. They need to get a score moving. Wakeland sits at the back and takes a blinder. Now you have to go back and kick it, Michael.
Well, what wonderful athleticism by Michael Wakeland. It was just a beauty. He set himself, and to think Darryl Wakeland was the best player, the Jack Oatey medalist last year in the grand final, playing for Port Adelaide.
In the second semi, he played across half forward. In the preliminary final, he played across half back. And now, I think he's He's back where he belongs. Full forward. 40 metres out. Crucial kick. He's missed it. 2-5, plays 2 points.
He's celebrating his 50th game today too, by the way. Left Port Adelaide because he couldn't get a game in the seniors, but he's been instrumental in this central side, making the grand final.
The Bulldogs would have liked that one. 17.5 minutes into this first term. Delaney, normally pinpoint, beautifully intercepted, but taken off the hand was Girdham. Does that well. Quick kick. And wrapping it up with Scott Lee. He's going to play on his run down. That is holding the ball.
Tripped.
The umpire says no. It is a trip. About 25 metres. Bit lucky in the end, Scott Lee.
It's a 50 metres. It's a 50-metre penalty. Now Scotty Lee takes the mark. Mallet wraps him up. And now the umpire deemed that a deliberate trip, which is why the 50-metre penalty was given.
The lead from Ingerson was a beautiful kick. He can't hold it. Girdham just takes the crumb and puts it down Waterhouse's throat. A quick gift to Darcy.
Darcy backwards, gets some space and some time. Waterhouse, beautiful looking kick. As far as distance was concerned, it didn't really hit the target though. Both defences, as we expected, are holding up pretty well. Stevens, just backward of centre wing. Anthony Ingerson really should have wrapped that up a moment ago. Those are the important entries they need to take. This time he's at the back. Taken off hands by Crooked. He gets inside. He'll make something happen from 48 metres out. Thumps it up there. And Darth Vader takes it on the last line of defence.
Remember that Roger Delaney 8 weeks ago broke a nose and a cheekbone. That's why the protective head covering.
Delaney with the ball goes wide. Spiro Melakelsade is called to play on. Has the backup by Smith. And that kick is to Darren Smith. And Smith, 30 years of age, 275 games. Another Port Stewart, Greg Anderson, goes short. Can't find number 11 in Scott Hodges, but they do bring it into their forward line a little bit better than the Dogs at the moment.
Well, I just think that Port Adelaide have settled a little better than Central so far. Still see some nerves out there by the Bulldogs. Port Adelaide 7 scoring opportunities. Central have only hit the scoring zone twice, but they've had the ball in their area 5 or 6 times. So
you'd expect that, surely. Back into play, though, taken by Reimers. The thing is, though, that it hasn't been that hurtful. They're only 15 points down.
It's only a slight breeze, too.
But as you're saying, when they settled the task, that's going to be the important thing. The Reimers kick, nothing in particular out there. Stephen Williams is having an influence. Pays out there to have a calm head, doesn't it? Nice and cool. Malakelis got it away towards Rohan Smith. This would be a beauty if he could finish that one off. Hit the post. Port fans, well, they got a little excited just for a moment, prematurely.
Trademark for Rohan Smith. Now, let me share that he's only kicked 12 goals 2 this year. His accuracy, when he gets the ball within range, is terrific.
Certainly dangerous to date. Getting a lot of the ball on that wing.
Oh,
Wins over the top was Arnold. Didn't quite get near it. And this is where the Magpies are dominating the crumb. Smith it was. The umpire's going to call it back. There'll be a free kick to the Magpies.
Now, Darren Smith did line up at centre-half forward for Port Adelaide, and there's the bench. That man on left of screen was named there, Daryl Poole. He's on the interchange.
Paul Foster and Fabian Francis.
Smith short. All by himself as Melakela-Spiro couldn't control it. The kick wasn't good. Laird. The tackling is ferocious. They're under pressure, the Bulldog defence. Rhyme as it was. As easy as like Windsor around Melakelis. Goes wide, but too wide. And out of bounds on the full.
Bulldog defence is under pressure. 18 points plays 2. 2-6 to 2 points. Mead in short. Trying to set something up, just moving it around the top of the key, as it were. Tim Ginniver, about 70 away. Has a look at Darren Smith, beautifully set, couldn't take it. Waterhouse, watch out because he can kick goals. A very, very high ball and a very tough one to take. Hodges at the back, nearly pulled it off. Not quite though, big battle in the goal square. And they're on red alert back there.
Well, I think you mentioned, Stephen, at the opening of the show that Hodges kicked 5 in a quarter in last year's grand final, 6 for the game, and he decimated the Eagles. He has that ability.
Arnold belts it through once again, so we've got 2-7 to 2 points. The way they're trying to combat Hodges, by the way, is have Arnold, the ruckman, sit back on Darren Smith, and Hereda sits in front and tries to chop off the path of Scott Hodges.
Ray Windsor had his work cut out in this first term. Comes wide. McKinnon will have the sit. Can't take it. Again, Girdham takes the crump. Darcy it was. He put the kick in. And that man again, Windsor, who may be contemplating a move back to Queensland, gives to McGowan. McGowan goes to the wing position. It's going to be Carter and Schwert, the punch. Beautifully done. Green. They can't get anything now, the Bulldogs. That man again, West, goes short and all by himself in the middle is Mead. He's got Anderson. Now Anderson is a prodigious kick. He's going to have a shot from 60. It isn't that good. And out of bounds from the 40.
Marty McKinnon, direct opponent, 25 metres away. Just lost his head for a moment and didn't realise where his man was, and it's going to be critical that they know where they all are.
McGowan can't keep it in play from the short pass from Lee. So we've got 23 and a half minutes gone in this first term. The 1995 Grand Final, right throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory on ABC Sport. The score here is 2-7 to 2 points. Girdham, the genuine catalyst amongst them. That was quick, wasn't it? McGowan basically threw the ball forward. Well taken by Stevens, threw himself at the football. And now Darcy elected to take the option on the inside. It was West. He then got it back and put it up there. A tough one for Windsor. Hodges has eyes on the ball. Windsor did not, but Windsor did remarkably well, I thought, but he's given the free kick away. That's what you get when you watch the footy.
Well, Tim Pfeiffer was right there on the spot. He was only about 15 metres away from this, and the leverage was taken by Windsor to get high up over the top. He was so desperate to get to the ball that he just took some leverage on Hodges' shoulder, and the umpire was right on the spot.
So Scotty Hodges, 20 metres out. A minute before time on, he gets Port Adelaide's third and his first. 3-7, plays 2 points.
Gives him 11 goals for the season, hardly impressive. But when you consider this is only his 5th game, and he's got those from only 18 kicks, just shows you what a finisher he is. When he gets the ball, he is deadly, rarely misses. And this is the man they're going to look to kick a winning score. He's got off to a good start.
The Magpies, 3-7-25. The Bulldogs, 2 solitary behinds. The punch. The Bulldogs not getting a lot through half forward at the moment. The Magpie defence and Lees can't do anything. Cook on Darcy. Gets it out. It's tight and it's tough. There'll be another ball out. And the bench, Alan Stewart in his 5th year as coach of the Bulldogs. Only one other coach has been there longer, and that was Darryl Hicks. Roy Laird it is. Caught by Fiacci. Again, the crumb from Carter to Wilson. They've done it well. This first turn, the kick is going to be run down by Lee. Beautiful shepherd by Reimers. He'll go out of bounds. No, he won't. Absolutely beautiful done. And Cotton gets another one a little bit high from Darcy, or I should say very much high. And Michael Abbott will say that is 50 metres. So Jared Cotton, as we saw, taken out by Wackham's going to go short.
Lucky for him.
Very lucky in the end. Will take another kick. So he's going to kick from 45 metres into a slight breeze, and I just don't think he's got the leg to carry. It's another free kick, and that will go to Port Adelaide. Hanging on from Simon Lewis, and he's not a happy boy. So Brian Lees will take the kick, and in grand finals or in any football, you've just got to make the most of the opportunities.
It's unusual for a forward to be holding a backman when they're going into attack, as Rohan Smith takes it inside half-back. Of the Ghost, right away to the far side. Casper's the nickname. Centre wing, pressure's right on Brian Herrera out there, needs to keep a play on it, does it okay. That looks like Wakeland, who's coming down for a run on the footy. Across the top, McKinnon. It's going to be set upon by a whole nest of Magpies. Well done, gets it forward, does McKinnon. Just can't make something happen inside half forward, can they? That Magpie defence is supreme. Malachellis let go probably what he could have taken. Girdham, Wakeland's in there also, but 3 Port Adelaide players. That's symptomatic of what's happened so far. Darren Smith to Anderson, who's starting to hurt Central, and gets it inside half forward. Well done by Windsor, got the spoil away. A little piece of body work by Stephen Williams was fine. The tough work off the footy. But meanwhile, the ball's gone across the line, and you see Jack Cale there in the centre of screen, Greg Phillips on the left. And Uncle Jack, well, he's going for premiership number 10.
Yes, and wouldn't he love that? Port Adelaide machine, expect to win. Ingerson to do the ruck work. Laird. And Magpies, they have a go. Reimers has caught Hereda quickly onto the boot. Run down. Ginniver can't do it, but his second effort is great. McGowan now, beautifully done. Went to give. Healy can't get the run of it. Now Ginniver again, beautifully given. Melikelis goes to the top of the centre forward position. Anderson is round the body, straight up in the air. It's going to be all Dogs. Will they talk? No, they don't. It goes to ground, and Ray Windsor says, I'll knock that out of bounds. The crowd want to deliver it. The umpire says, throw it in.
I don't think there's any doubt that he tried to find the boundary line there, no doubt at all. And a wry grin might just give it away also. Darren Smith couldn't take it. Stevens, we're running out of time for the Bulldogs here in this first term. 29 minutes have gone by as Jared Cotton sees it to the line. It's the experienced players at the moment, isn't it? Anderson, Ginniver, West, Darcy across the midfield. Coming up to 29 minutes in, 4 minutes of time on. Well done by Darren Smith. Shovels it forward. Reimers allows Waterhouse a little too much room, and Laird did well on the one take to McGowan. And Ricky's kick goes to half forward where Cotton takes it off hands. But the Port Adelaide defence once again holds them out. Around about 45,000 people nearing the end of this first term. And I reckon the Bulldogs will do well to regroup, have a bit of a talk about it, get their minds back on regrouping. Well done by Girdham inside, can't quite carry it away, but in the meantime the field umpire's gone down behind play. He's back up and okay. Stephen Williams had his head taken off. Lee's quick kick. Delaney's in the best position, can't take it. Neither can Michael Wakeman. Did he get a push? Yes. A little lucky, but he got himself first access to the footy. And by doing that, you take the spoils. So Michael Wakeman about 60 metres out. Arnold's one option. They're getting there first in defence, aren't they, the Maggies? Fiacci. Northeast had his kick smothered by a man who's been pretty quiet in this first term, Daniel Healy. A star last week in the prelim final. And it goes across the boundary line on the far side. Underneath the scoreboard reading 3-7 to 2 points. 23 points in it. Arnold goes into battle with Mead. This is Healy. Haven't Port Adelaide tackled well. It's the Central trademark. And that's it. End of the first term of the grand final here at Football Park. Capacity crowd. And if you had a red, white and blue scarf around your neck at the moment, you'd be just a little concerned because Port Adelaide were more settled. They started it well, and at quarter time on ABC Sport, live and exclusive throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory at Football Park, Port Adelaide have made the break. 3-7 to 2 points. The margin, 23 points.
And with me, Michael Ace, and you've been here before, Michael. It's been a disastrous start, though you'd have to expect it with the lack of experience.
Well, you would, Neville, and Port Adelaide would have been controlled. Jack Cale, a master under these situations, and Alan Stewart would have loved to get at least one goal on the board. They attacked, but just weren't good enough, and they kicked into the breeze, which was surprising by captain in Girdham. But anyway, they've done that.
A few highlights of that first quarter, and the thing that impressed me about Port Adelaide, they opened well, didn't they, in terms of tackling and so on, but then as the quarter went on, they became a little bit flustered. One mistake, Windsor had the ball taken off him on that square, but in tight, Port Adelaide was superb. Here's Waterhouse kicking that freak goal, and I said before the game started, he might have a beauty today.
Yes, well, the conditions are perfect for football, and Central Districts aren't crumbing the ball, as we see Wakeland. Well, it was courage by Cotton. He's back into it.
But those sort of clashes, they wouldn't happen during the year, would it? Now, Windsor wouldn't run over the line. Wakeland and so on wouldn't clash. Ingo probably kicked that goal, and all down to nerves, I should say. This bloke?
Look, isn't he sensational? He's kicked from 50, and that's what makes Port Adelaide so good. With Melikelis and assists as a great mark by Lewis, they run through the lines and they can hurt you, particularly across the midfield, and kick long goals.
Yes, have a look at this. He's capable of it, isn't he, Wakeland? We're happy to see him start there because they didn't name him go up there, and he's got all of the talent. So he can play up and back, and he'll be a big player. Delaney?
Well, some would say a surprise, but he's a master at full back. He really does pinpoint every kick out. Again, we see Waterhouse. Spiro Melikelis has been in the thick of things.
Hodges doesn't look on the ball at the moment.
Well, they haven't really brought it down to him all that well, but we see there he nearly took the grab. We went up and came down, he nearly made it on the ground.
Okay, 10 shots to 2. That in itself tells a story. The game could well and truly be over thanks to poor kicking by Port, 23-point margin.
And the goal scorers, well, they're all Port Adelaide at this stage, 1 apiece to Waterhouse, West and Hodges.
And the stats, they've had more of the footy, haven't they? And there's hit-outs 6 to 10, not much in those sorts of things. David Mackay's on the boundary line, and David, one of the most impressive parts of that first quarter from mine was the defence of Port Adelaide, in particular Fiachi and Mead very early.
Well, I think Alan Stewart was aware of that, Neville, wasn't he? I mean, just the fact that he put Wakeland there right from the onset, he knew that he had to kick a winning score today. No point defending and chasing, but this breeze just has freshened just a little bit. And I would suggest to you that Central will have probably a 2 or 3 goal breeze this quarter, and if it freshens any further, they'll be coming home with it in the final term.
Okay, and Roger Girdham, Michael, this particular player, we've said if he can get into the action, and doesn't he make everyone feel his body?
Well, the handball to Williams, he was stationary. Girdham had, a half head of steam up and just barreled Stephen Williams, but he is such a good player, a good skipper, David, and if Roger Girdham can fire, he really needs McGowan to get more of the football, but they really do have to watch what Melikelis and West do.
I think you're absolutely right there, and now the other thing is whether or not Roger Girdham has got concussion or not, because if he has, he might not run out the game. It's you always find that you end up with very heavy legs. What about that mark by Wakeland, though, at full forward? I mean, that was the opportunity for Central District to really get behind him, but he missed, and it was just, they just lost momentum a little bit at that point.
Yes, they've had a lot of forward sorties, haven't they, Central? And they've failed on a lot of occasions to sort much out. And it's been well read, particularly by Fiachi and Delaney. Well, David, hopefully the nerves have gone. Hopefully Stewart can convince them that everything that happened in that first quarter was expected. They're lucky that Port have been offline. And if they get down to business, they're still in it.
Yeah, I think so. I think Green on West is a mismatch. Maybe they look at Stewart on West. West has really done some damage, as has Darcy and Rohan Smith. Their middle line has really dominated Port Adelaide, and I think Alan Stewart will need to address what he's doing with his men.
Yes, and Jack Cale, as we said, looking for that to equal Jack Odie's record, Stephen, of 10 premierships. Wouldn't that be a treat for him?
It is just a magnificent record, and I was talking to the Port staff down in the rooms before the game, and interestingly they were saying that Jack was as nervous as he has ever been in this week, leading up to perhaps his 10th premiership.
Well, you'd expect it, wouldn't you? And there's Michael Abbott, umpire and policeman, about to set things going for this grand final. Port Adelaide and Central District. Your commentators, Stephen Trigg.
3-7 to 2 points at the start of the second term. Not quite the roar from the crowd. Central District supporters would be a little pensive, I reckon, at the moment, as Girdham gets it away. If they get a quick, clean entry, they'll be all right, as rain looms here at Football Park too, by the way. Round the body with Stevens, on the right leg towards Wakeland. Front of the pack was Schwert in the right spot. Well done there by Schwert, shovelled it forward. Now David Green just fell fortuitously into the arms of Tim Cook. Was that 10 metres?
I don't think it was quite 10 metres, and it wouldn't have surprised me if it was touched off the boot.
Well, either way, the Bulldogs have got a shot at it. Tim Cook kicked 4 in the preliminary final. In fact, it was the second semi-final that he kicked 4, including a tremendous boundary line goal. Long kick, but it's offline. Just get the feeling they need one to settle, don't you? 3-7, 3 points.
Yes, they do. As I said, Alan Stewart would have loved one in that first quarter. Port Adelaide jumped to a good lead, 22 points. Delaney kicks short, always finds someone, in this case Mead. Mead, quick give to Northeast. That bat line working extremely well. Look at this, players running everywhere. Now it's Carter down to the half-forward line looking for Hodges. Was Holt? No, he wasn't. And Scotty Hodges, with that horrific ankle injury in that first minor round game against Glenelg, lacking still a little fitness, but if they get that ball down to him on a string, he's capable of kicking a bag.
Yes, if they get a good enough volume of entries down there, sooner or later he'll kick a score. Quick kick forward, West. Again sitting on the inside of David Green and gives himself first access to the footy in the game. Won't get away with that one though, as he plays for a free kick on boundary side. Robbie West, in the 4 outings they've had together this year, 3 times he's been in the top 3 best players for the Magpies. So David Green is picking him up, being accorded some respect by central coach Alan Stewart. Ray Windsor does well. He's in the hot seat down there. Scotty Leon does it remarkably well, particularly when he picks off a player. Now they've got a couple spare. One is Hereda and the other is Scott Stevens. From right in the heart of Football Park, he thumps one long. Within about 35 metres, spoiled forward, Schwert. The structure's okay, but they're just not getting enough of the football down there. Good. Fiachi, Ginniver, experienced heads, aren't they? To Lees, who's another one, as the rain starts to come down.
Lees with the ball, Magpie loose players everywhere. Darcy, he's got the runners. Umpire calls play on. Inside, Wilson it is. He's going to have a shot from 35, drills it low, just to the left of the big upright. And Michael Wilson from the back lines, running beautifully along with West and Carter.
Now the rain is falling. You just wonder whether the gods are working against the Bulldogs. They kicked into the breeze in the first quarter. They have the breeze now, and surely with the rain this breeze will drop.
The kick in. Rymers did started well in that first term. Again the second. McKinnon needs to be more direct. They're just bombing at the moment. Now there's loose everywhere. The handball was on, but Schwert didn't need it. His first, and the Bulldogs number 1.
Now that's not a bad ploy, is it? Remember in the second semi-final, the Bulldogs went wide, wide, wide. Port Adelaide just kept forcing them wide all the time. Now they've decided they're going to go straight down the middle. Now, from time to time, it'll come unstuck, particularly with kicks like that. They just bomb it in. But at least they're in the centre corridor, and when the loose ball falls, look where the crummers are. They're right in the middle of the ground, ready to have a shot. And that's not a bad tactic, and if they stick to it, maybe it can work.
Four minutes into this second term, 3-8 plays, 1-3. Stephen Schwert finished it off. Had Cotton there as an option, so it was a good job that he did finish it. Mead, high kick, and right towards grandstand wing. Healy's out there. He's a class act, kicks it around the body. Lewis goes into battle. He gets first access to the footy. In front, doesn't get a free kick. West. Now McGowan, and one thing this football park does when it gets wet is it gets a little slippery. He's still handling it okay though. Ginniver got it from Darren Smith, has a look up forward, but Laird is sitting back. Takes a good mark, breaks and then puts it up towards centre wing where Lewis at the back, tough one to take, slippery ball. McGowan is there, and David Green pushes it forward, but I thought it was on the line, but it was over, out on the full.
McKinnon is coming into the game. So too is Lewis and Healy, but they need more from those players.
Mead with the kick, misses. Just gets the kick, was Fiachi, not good enough.
Good pressure from Girdham, wasn't it?
Was. Scotty Stevens in the centre of the ground, looking for Ingerson. Can't get into the game at the moment. North East doing a great job. Back was Mead. They're just bombing it into the forward lines at the moment, the Bulldogs. And the Port defence, as easy as you like, running out through Fiachi and hits Darcy.
The thing that North East is doing is taking Ingerson's run, and Ingerson, without a run at the ball, struggles a bit.
Anderson, centre wing. Takes it in the hands, does it well. Darren Smith's in short, presents himself, and really turned Arnold inside out. That handball wasn't on, put Rohan Smith under pressure, but they're good enough to get away with it. Spiro Malakellis, Scott Lee, arguably Central's best player so far, has done it very well from the back pocket, puts it into the path of Stevens. If he gets it across the top, they're okay. He knew exactly what was in front of him, he did it well. Got a little toe poke to it and gave Cotton a chance, but that Port Adelaide defensive action is absolutely magnificent. They squeeze it out towards centre wing where Michael Wilson has a moment. Sits, has a look at McKellis. Scott Lee's got him covered though. Won't get past the agitator. Over he goes. Rick McGowan arrives and provides some support. Malakellis and Scott Lee just having a little toe-to-toe behind the play, and up it goes towards Simon Lewis and goes across the line.
Now you just wonder about Central. The last 2 forays in have gone wide again, and Port Adelaide love playing the boundary line.
Lee's just on top of Lewis at the moment. He's bombing on his head. He's got to get on the lead. Mead can't control it. Darcy will take it over the line. And the Bulldogs not controlling the ball at all well. Having a look at the crowd. The umbrellas are up. It's only light rain. And the Magpies, they're in front. George Fiacci just travels the ball over the line.
Now, there's a couple of players who aren't in the game. Ingerson perhaps needs to come into ruck, fellas. He's just doing nothing. We're a quarter and a bit in, and he hasn't even been amongst the action yet. It's time to give him a run on the ball. At least let him get into this game.
There he is, gets it out. When Central beat Port in round 14, Ingerson was the man. So it might not be a bad idea. Free kick inside half-back, and it's going to go to Brian Lees.
Maybe that's not such a bad free kick. When you see it the first time, it looked like a pretty ungainly one, but he was blasting through with players supporting him. It was a professional free.
Lees finds Mead, and Mead finds the boundary line on the far side. 8 minutes into the second term, hit and run shower. You can probably take that down now. 3-8 plays 1-3.
Bulldogs, the first final, 31 years. Port Adelaide, a great start. Darcy as easy as you like. Again, gets round, he's going to get run down. Quick kick forward, McKinnon and Herrera. No one can control it. Healy picks it up beautifully, but he's tackled by West. The ball bounces favourably for McKinnon. Very cool and calm, and finds Cook. Now Cook's got McGowan, who's coming into this game and playing well. He's got a free leg.
Ricky McGowan. The free leg is the left leg. I think he might prefer the right, but he's still skilled enough to get it up to Wakeland.
I was watching Wakeland. He did a ripper job because he went back straight down the middle. He was 20 yards free, and the lead was ignored. McGowan took a couple of bounces, and it just forced Wakeland back into the pocket. But the first quick kick and the first lead was the right idea.
A tough kick, slightly heavy ball. It's a beautiful kick, Michael, straight through the middle. Won't that give them a fill-up? At the 9-minute mark of the second term, it's 3-8 to 2-3. The Bulldogs just get a little bit back.
Well, you can't help but feel that a former Port Adelaide player playing for a new club gets the one that could bring them back. And he did. He led a couple of times, and in the finish, Delaney was doubled back. But what about the kick? 48 out, it didn't deviate at all.
Fabian Francis just warms up. Schwert can't control it. He's swamped by Jennifer and Rohan Smith. The umpire will go for another bounce.
Fabian Francis comes on. Goal-kicking specialist. He loves a wet ball, and that's what John Cale's banking on here.
Mead and Arnold. Taken by Carter. Beautiful tackle by Lee. Gave it to Girdham, and he couldn't get a clean giveaway.
Oh.
And the umpire just goes for a slip. Michael Abbott's picked out a free kick to Scott Lee.
Girdham.
To Girdham it is. And when you put your body on the line like this man, you'll get the freeze. The kick just can't be taken in Port Adelaide defence. As easy as you like, Roger Girdham.
I was just noticing.
The umpire says yes, that is deliberate this time. Had no other option.
Fair enough. Mead was there, Fiacci was there, Jennifer was there, Wilson was there, all at the point of the square. The kick had to go wide. They just force you wide all the time.
Healy, that beautiful left foot goes to the head of the square. Now the Crummers. This is where Port are dominating. Fiacci has time to get up. He's tackled by Cook. It's tough. No clean ball at the moment. Melikelis just taps it to the boundary line northeast. He's got all the time in the world. But awkward kicking style goes long, but he's going to put it straight down Huey Reimers' throat.
Now this is a man, Stephen, they need to explode from half-back. Herrera and Reimers need to just start to take charge of the game and attack.
Well, he's proven in the past that he can be a match winner. McGowan's doing his best to lift them, isn't he? Short pass, and again he's picked off Wakeland. One side of the ground to the other. Left leg on this side and right leg on the other side. And I called the Wakeland leg last time as a tough one for goal. This one's tougher.
Well, all he has to do is put it up in front of the goals. There is a little bit of breeze sucking it right through the middle.
He's getting a fair ride from the Central crowd who are at the northern end. I think he's missed that one. Just a matter of by how far. He's still got a point. 3-8 to 2-4. 11 and a half minutes gone in the second term.
Might well be that Ingerson's come out to centre half forward too, by the way.
You'd look good in a hat like that, David.
Yep. Sure I would.
The painted face. got Battlestar. Scarred, I should say. Delaney kicks in. Fiachi can't pick up the crumb, but Geneva, as quick as you like in there. The free leg is Scott Stevens, directly out, and magnificent. 1 goal, Scott Stevens. A very important one for the Dogs.
And he hasn't kicked many this year, but there won't be too many more important than that. In fact, before today he's only kicked 7. But watch here, he even fends off his own man. Such is his desperation. He's what? Look, the ball goes to ground, and here he comes at it. Now he picks up and he fends off his own man. Watch. There. He thought Cook. That was the desperation. That was the intensity. It didn't matter who was there. He wasn't going to be stopped. Just presence of mind. It was terrific.
Now we've got a ball game. 4 points in it. 3-8 to 3-4. And we're 12 and a half minutes into the second term. Tons of time left for anything to happen in this second quarter. Tony Malakalis gets it wide. Little test of leg speed. Stephen Schwert does it very well. Just edged out Carter, then got it inside half forward. Came into this game under some pressure, Stephen Schwert. Working back his northeast. Concedes it, but only just.
Just get a feeling that there's a real metamorphosis just come over this game in the last 3 minutes, and that Central, being out of it, 23 points down at quarter time, believe now that they've got Port's measure.
Well, to give Valon Stewart some credit, he's just sat with it, hasn't he? He hasn't panicked, kept them in the same spots.
The Bulldogs, they just have to maintain the intensity.
Well, it's fair call. Oh, look, it's all working for Centrals now. They outscored Port Adelaide by 6 goals in the second half.
Stevens with the ball, another goal-kicking woman along with Healy. Goes to that head of the square again, in front. As Carter couldn't take it. Off the ground was Fiachi. In first, Mead, they're throwing the bodies all over it. Fiachi and Girdham. Oh, the give. Can't control it with Schwert. And a let-off for the Magpies as the Bulldogs, you would have thought, may have walked up start and put that one through.
Oh, it was an honest attack on the ball by Girdham that set it all up, and the cotton handball over the top of Schwert. All Schwert needed to do was take it clean, and there were 2 players streaming off, feeding off, ready for the handball to run into the open goal.
3 points now. Reimers is doing okay at half back. That's a tough kick. Hard one to take because it's right up against the fence. Now the Magpies will bring it in through Darcy at half back. Good looking short pass has Fiachi. Five premierships for George. Up towards centre wing, spoiled out of Darren Smith's hands. Central, you're right, they're just starting to lift a bit, get themselves first use of the footy. Here's Cook, and the tackling still is effective. From the point of the square, he puts it right up to where at the back it's Lewis, couldn't quite take it. Well done, Paul Northeast, front spot. Pressure's on, isn't it, when they start to throw them on the boot like that? That's Lees. Healy's under pressure out there. There are 2 Magpies. It's a tough gig when it's 2 under 1. Rohan Smith gets it to centre wing. Does Anderson keep it in play? He does, just inside.
Anderson. Gary medalist from Port Adelaide. Can't get it move on. The Bulldogs back to man up. They go short to Stephen Williams. And not a good kick. Out of bounds on the full. And the Central District players really throwing the pressure on the Magpies at the moment. A thump from behind. As we said, David, we know the Magpies can sustain pressure.
The 86 Magarey medalist. Does it seem such a short time ago that he won that medal?
He's 29 years of age. He's played a lot of good football. He's back to win his first premiership for the Magpies. 16 minutes into this second term. Laird.
So that's an interesting one, isn't it? Greg Anderson has never played in a winning grand final, either with Essendon in the AFL or Port Adelaide in the SANFL.
Right, played in 84, the losing grand final, and with Port Adelaide and Essendon also. Losing grand final. The boundary thrown again. Hereda does battle with Waterhouse. Williams does it beautifully. The pressure was on from McGowan, so it's tough and it's tight.
What about Girdham? Girdham was there again, Aishi.
Yes. The Magpies by 3 points.
And it's fair to say that the breeze has sprung up just a little from right to left, helping Central, were it not for the fact that it's got a bit breezy out there. Well done by Girdham. What's happened there? A throw. Now, Roger's trying to demonstrate the handball technique, but I think it might have been a toss.
Well, I'm sure it was. It was a beautiful pick-up by the umpire.
Waterhouse comes off, he has one. And coming on is Spiro Malakalis.
Anderson at the back, marks, went to play on Ando. Luckily gets called back. Ginniver provides something. Darren Smith is up the front. Gee, Ginniver's so cool, isn't he? Every time he gets the ball, it ends up with someone.
Greg Anderson set that up so well. Just thought he was about to play on, then he realised he was caught, then sold the dummy and gave it off to Ginniver. And the quick movement was what caught the central defenders right out.
Greg Anderson very surprised that he ended up with the ball.
And Windsor just made him earn the kick.
So Darren Smith, around about 40 metres out. Thumps it up there, but is missed. So 3-9 plays 3-5.
There's another that's played in 5 Port Adelaide premiership teams. He's been there. John Cale swears and declares that in the big matches he's never let him down.
Kick in right to the point of the square at halfback. Spoiled forward. The Bulldogs were there in numbers, but it just fell into a Port Adelaide arm. Well done by Hereda, but they didn't get the footy. Stephen Williams, look at him dodging and weaving, still gets it forward. Ginniver, little tussle on behind play with West and Green. Scott Lee around the body. Oh dear, there's no talking out there because McKinnon took it out of the arms of Healy. Still they bundle it to the line, it goes across. Or does it? And we'll have a bounce down on centre wing. Perhaps just forward of centre wing for the Magpies.
McKinnon really starting to warm to this game. I thought he started pretty ordinarily in the first 5 minutes, but his last 20 minutes or so of football been tough and hard.
Capacity crowd at Football Park. Seeing a great grand final. The Bulldogs just trailing. Reimers being one of the Dogs' best. Taken was Carter. Fiachi backs up. It's a breezy ball. They can't control it. There'll be another ball up. And Michael Abbott will do the honours. Number 5, number 6 grand final. Only 20 minutes in. Mead's done pretty well in ruck. Stevens off the ground. The kick in front was Cotton. Plays on. McGowan normally does something with it. Drills it to Wakeland. And ends up taking a magnificent grab.
And 25.
Right. Well, we said this game could be won by a key forward. We were thinking Scotty Hodges, it's a 50-metre penalty. It's a 25-metre penalty as well. Lees came in late, and that's what the infringement was for. So Wakeland will kick for goal from 8 metres out. We were thinking when we said that maybe Scott Hodges was the key forward that could blow this game apart. We probably didn't quite factor in the impact of this fellow.
Has 2. Looking to put number 4 on the score for the Bulldogs. Oh. And he's hit the post. Well, disappointing. Keep your head up. That's what he has to do. And the Magpies will do that now as we see Darren Poole coming on and Spiro Malakalis just having a rest. Going wide. Rohan Smith, Brian Lees take the mark. Has a look for Darren Smith, backing in his Healy, and nearly takes a one-hander, but again, the crumb by Malakalis, and Anderson is met heavily by Reimers, and the ball will be thrown in again.
Reimers didn't do the pre-season, but has got better as the season's gone on. Prime target for the AFL draft too, size and pace.
Poole, first attack at the football. And it goes across the line. We're 21 minutes into the second term. Bit of a sprinkle coming down once again. 3 points in it, 3-9 to 3-6. The central recovery's been okay. Free kick at the front. Going to big Damien Arnold. His kick up towards half forward, where Ingerson is lurking, but there are 3 Magpies there. Spoiled forward, West, who's been reasonably well blanketed by David Green so far. Carter up towards half forward, just over the head of Arnold. Bit of pressure on back there now. Hereda attacks the football with some, well, he's gone for holding the ball.
That's fair enough. Dragged it in, didn't get it out in time. Timmy Fife was right on the spot.
Darren Smith short, but Arnold sits there and takes a good mark.
Scott Hodges did the right thing by the team. Arnold was getting ready to play on, and Hodges just wrapped him up.
Scott Lee takes it away from the danger zone. As far as Tony Malakelis, inside as Rohan Smith decides not to use him. Probably the best option indeed was the kick up towards the full forward line. Poole is down there. So too is Windsor. Springs from the hands of Windsor. And a dead ball. So plenty of action, just 3 points in it. Now 22.5 minutes have gone by. The ball is 20 metres from that Port Adelaide goal. Anderson on the right leg. He drags it back. The bounce should help him.
It's hit the post.
But it hits the post.
Now, that's what 3 times we've had the post hit. Smith hit it once. Michael Wakeler just a few moments ago, and now Anderson. Just often need a little bit of luck, don't you?
Windsor straight down the middle of the ground with a torpedo. West can't control it. Reimers over the top as Poole caught it beautifully. The quick gift to Williams. In and out all the time in the world is Carter. Looks for someone. The crowd thinks he's run too far. Smith's in the position, but over the top. Beautiful punch from behind from Windsor. And he's done a good job too in defence for the Bulldogs.
Showed some authority, didn't it? Knew exactly where that ball was going. He launched himself and hit it straight to the line, which was 25 metres away.
Arnold at the back. Healy's down there. So too is Laird. It comes to McKinnon. Not quite so much from him in the latter stages of the second term, but that reflex was pretty good from the pack. McGowan's played the link man very well. Extreme pressure. 3 Magpies down there, and he hits the concrete of the race.
I thought he did that pretty well, though. Looked around, saw he had no support, ran across the boundary line, handballed it.
Straight into the Port Adelaide arms, yes. Boundary throw-in. Poole takes it from the air, manages to squeeze it out to Malakelis. They're winning in close, aren't they, Port Adelaide? Left leg of Williams is pinpoint perfect. It's got Darren Smith lace out. A little awkward, Darren. Hits the deck, but the important thing is he's got the football in hand. And Robbie West has now got it on the 50-metre line.
I was a bit critical of David Green in the first quarter and his job on West, but he made the point. West has been somewhat subdued this quarter. In fact, this is his first kick this quarter, so Green really has tightened up.
6 kicks overall. Thumps it right up towards the line. Doesn't quite carry. And in the end, they push it through. 5 points in it, 3-11 to 3-6, and we're on the verge of time on in the second term.
The Magpies, 14 scoring shots to 9. Now the goal makes things very interesting. Either way, the Magpies like eat out a stronger lead. The Bulldogs would like to go in. It's out in front. A great grab. No contest was made. The quick gift to Williams. He's been in everything the last 5 minutes. Spins out of trouble. Gives it to Smith. Smith throws it onto his boot, but it's all Bulldogs. And Reimers with Lee and McGowan. The top 3 for the Bulldogs in this first half. 15 touches. 12, 7 marks. 8 kicks and 4 handballs. McGowan takes it out closely. Congested with Anderson. Throw in. Port Adelaide just getting back into it, taking control of the game. The Bulldogs, mid-term, start to control things, and a great tackle is rewarded. And we said this time and time throughout the year, the umpires tending not to reward tackles. This time they did by Ingerson. And could be a bit of strife. He's backed up, intercepted, thrown on the boot was Lee. Now West. Darcy it is, inside. Has time. But the pressure was on, dropped by Reimers. He's got no support now. McGowan and the Bulldogs out of trouble.
McGowan's linking up okay, has a look at Lee. And the agitator takes it just beyond that Port Adelaide 50-metre line to the heart of Football Park, has a look at and finds Scott Stevens. Had Stephen Schwert, but doesn't anymore. Now Stevens from just behind the midfield to McKinnon, who looks like he's having a run on the football at the moment, or playing at half forward. Crunching tackle put on.
Lewis has come out to centre half forward. Arnold's having a rest in a forward pocket, and Ingerson having a run on the ball. So Stewie just bringing some changes.
Lures. Oh, well done by Girdham, got it out to McKinnon. Couldn't make it clean though, nothing happening in there. Carter, this time West gets a clean run at it. Kicks it around the body, Poole is there, so too is Reimer. Should be too athletic and get across the top for the spoil. He does just that. Ingerson, and another dead ball.
The thought is that with Poole on the ball for Port Adelaide, that Ingerson, Alan Stewart, has just swung the change. There he is left of screen. He's just swung Ingerson into the ruck to try and run Poole away.
Central are winning in the area of marks and indeed in terms of tackles, but they haven't got enough of the football. A magnificent smother, David Green. Gives them a chance. Cook. Healy just needs to stay calm. Then gets it up to within about 40 metres of goal. Nothing tall down there on offer, but Lees is there for Port Adelaide. And as is always the case, gets it to Mead with some precision. Out to McGowan, who's looming as one of the men who can keep them in the game at the moment. I know there's not a lot in it, but Port Adelaide, you just have the better feel. However, here is McKinnon. Lures, they give some ground. They can't get it inside incisively. Now they've got Girdham. And Roger's going to take a shot from about 40 metres out, it would seem.
You must say, Stephen, that the Bulldogs, only 4 or 5 players really playing anywhere near their potential, and they're only 5 points down. And if Girdham can put this ahead, through, they can put them ahead. That's a pretty good sign.
Hold on if they get in front. Girdham puts it to the head of the square. Port Adelaide playing in front. Where are the smalls? The crowd up there this time for the Bulldogs. Taken by Fiacci. Across goals he goes. Picks up Delaney. Fearsome looking side, isn't he? Coming up to 29 minutes into the second term, and that's all we're going to get. Half time at Football Park, and it's, well, 5 points in it. Central District fought their way back well.
Well, I mentioned at quarter time that breeze had sprung up, and it worried me that with the rain coming that maybe the breeze would die down, but it didn't in fact. Central held their nerve pretty well, and in that term they actually scored 3 goals for, while Port Adelaide only managed 4 points. So credibly, Central have kept themselves in this game at half-time. You suspect that if they were 5 or 6 goals down at half-time, then the emotions might have been running a bit flat. But right now, they're 5 points down and right in the game.
So at half-time at Football Park, the 95 grand final, it is anybody's game. There's no doubt about that. We didn't expect a high-scoring affair, and particularly when the drizzle started coming down. It's tough and it's tight. And at half-time, there's 5 points in it in this game, live and exclusive on ABC Sport.
Adelaide team already on the ground, and 5 points up, and a fabulous first half of football. Stephen Tree's with me, and a tip from here. I'll put you right on the line.
Oh, you tell me first. I think that Central District just don't look like they've got the same calm, do they? Mind you, had Wakeland kicked that goal at about the 20-minute mark of the second term, they'd be in front.
And Port Adelaide must be wondering they should be 5 goals up and nearly went in behind. Let's have a look at the score, how it emerged. 2 points. They were scoreless in the first quarter, Central District, and they managed to come back with 9 scoring shots, or sort of 7 scoring shots, to trail by just 5 points.
And all singles, aren't they? Nobody can get amongst a multiple goal scorer there. Schwertz, Stevens and Wakeland, and for Port Adelaide, Waterhouse, West and Hodges, just as it was earlier in the game.
And as far as the stats goes, we said not a lot separating the two sides. So I think in terms of catches and not much, kicks and handballs, about 20 possessions in favour of Port Adelaide. Out of centres, nothing to really speak of. Steve, the interesting part from my point of view is that West has been controlled by McGowan in that quarter. I think Cook got back into the game, and whilst we watched these pitches, it was a lot better quarter from the runners from Centrals.
Yes, I had the feeling that David Green had pretty well stitched up Robbie West, and it allowed McGowan to work through the middle of the ground pretty well. Now, Stephen Schwertz kicked a very important goal there, but had Wakeland, and I go back to it again, kicked that goal, for all the times that Port Adelaide had their entries into their forward line, had Wakeland been able to kick that goal, then I think it would have been a real fillip for them. But that's a little symptomatic of the game, isn't it? Tough and tight, plenty of tackling.
Yes, and in tight. I was talking to Michael Ace just before the Australian Remembers theme, and that's a feature of Port Adelaide. I don't reckon the Central Crummers have been anywhere near as good as they should be, but in close, it's Port Adelaide style, isn't it? They just seem to win the in-close ball.
They do, but that handball is, the numbers of handballs that they've got up at the moment is unusually high for Port Adelaide. Usually it's a get it, kick it long and go straight down the corridor, but the fact that their reflex is outnumbering Central at the moment is something of a surprise.
Yes, and we saw Wakeland there. We've mentioned it before, but the Wakeland-McGowan combination has been absolutely superb, and it really got them started again. Not much in the ruck contest, is there really? I mean, I think Ingerson and Lewis are doing a lot of work up forward, but Mead's probably been the most outstanding big man.
Yeah, well, Arnold's getting his hand to the ball most times and is leading in the tap-outs, but certainly Mead and Poole around the ground now are doing pretty well. David Mackay, I have the feeling that they just need Central District to get a little bit more from the midfield, and not just McGowan. The Cook, Girdham types need to do a bit more for the Bulldogs.
I think that's a pretty fair comment, Stephen. You look at the scoreboard at half-time, they're 5 points down, and you can't say they've played particularly well, and had Wakeland or McGowan, Girdham, made those shots late in the quarter for goal, they could well have been in front at half-time, so Alan Stewart must take a good deal of heart from that.
Ingerson, David, I've said he's a little bit down. He hasn't had much of an easy ball, has he? Nor has Scott Hodges at the other end. But if he could come into the game, he might well be the difference.
Don't underrate Paul at North East, who was picking up Ingerson early. What he was doing was just stopping Ingerson's run, and Ingerson really struggles when he can't get a leap at the ball. And North East worked him out pretty well early, and I think the move of Ingerson into ruck was probably a good one for Central.
Just seems to me as though the ground's dried out a little, David. You're down there on the grass at the moment, and it might help Central if it stays dry, quite frankly.
Sorry, Stephen, I missed that completely. The siren's going, the crowd's roaring, I missed it. Do you want to go again?
Oh, you'll make any excuses. I was just asking you about the grass down there. Is it slippery still or not? Because
yes, it is, underfoot. I just noticed that the players have gone for sprigs. They were using moulded soles in the first half. They've gone to sprigs now.
Okay, everything in readiness. The Central District skipper with a head full of stitches, Roger Girdham, and got a smile on his face, or it might just be his mouth guard. Everything's set for the final half of the SANFL Grand Final between the Magpies and the Dogs. Who will it be? 32 for the Maggies or the first for Central District? I'll hand you over to Michael H. He's got all the answers.
The Magpies by 5 points. A couple of interesting moves. Scott Hodges is off the ground and Darren Smith is taking up the full forward position. The Bulldogs in quest for the first premiership. Arnold with the tap straight to Rohan Smith. Deep into attack. Scotty Lee, again being resolute in defence, takes a fine mark, comes wide to Herrera. Good pick off Schwert, and that is a lovely pick off Hooter, as he's commonly known, down at Doggyland, and they've done well, and that is a fine grab under severe pressure was Ingerson. Kick the lead from Lewis. Can't get it from the back is Mead, and the Port defence so cool and calm. The kick from Fiachi wasn't good, but the backup and the ease. West off the ball was a Shepherd. The free kick will go to Scott Stevens, and Darcy was going deep into attack.
Scotty Stevens, 14 possessions, right up there towards half forward. Port Adelaide are there in numbers. Cotton does well. Lures, hands it back to Stephen Schwert, gets on the favoured left leg, rides it around the body, but it's not with any precision whatsoever. Falls right into the arms of North East. He plays it on to Fiachi. Good chasing, good tackling. Delaney also under pressure, quick kick around the body, still manages to carry it 50 though. Arnold probably should have taken it from front spot, didn't do so. Now Port Adelaide have a chance and a free kick. Tony Malakalis will take it from just inside the centre square. So Scott Hodges off the ground. They've obviously gone in with a full forward who's less than 100%. I guess we knew that, but you would have expected Scotty to get a crack at it in the second 60 minutes. So maybe there's more wrong with him than we thought.
There's not a lot of football in the last few months. The tackle from Laird on Williams was spot on, forced another bounce. Arnold with the tap. The Magpies again through Geneva. The kick not good. Herrera takes the kick. Now the loose ball. Rohan Smith spins out of tackle. Poole is on the ground. The Magpies just do it a little bit more easily, and the kick just short of Smith. Off the ground from Stevens. David Green will take the mark. Right on Port Adelaide 50.
The Green kick. McKinnon out the back. Whistle's gone. Central are going to get another free kick. Stephen Schwert, number 40, known as Hooter to his teammates. Fairly flattering, isn't it? Up to half forward. Don't want to do much with that because there's a big Port Adelaide fist that gets sunk into the ball. Lees works back and has a look at and finds the boundary line. 3 minutes into the third term, 5 points in it, and for the first time looks like Chris Pyman. David is getting ready to come back on, or
Yes,
at least come on for the first time.
Getting ready to come on. He missed the second semi-final, of course, after he was involved in a car accident.
Stephen Carter's in there, so too is Mead. Mead's quick kick forward, McKinnon and Anderson, there's some class amongst that. Well done by Arnold to Reimers. Took the best option, and that was to go boundaryward in case he was tackled. And that is class. Well done by McKinnon. Takes and breaks and then puts it up to within 35 metres out the back. This is where they're struggling, aren't they? They just can't get it off the deck. The competition in the air is okay, but off the ground they're not getting anything. Stevens attacked the ball and is hurt. Both boys are hurt, Lees and Stevens. Meanwhile, the ball's with Darcy right in the heart of Football Park. Has a look at the umpire, I thought just for a moment. Wrong man, need a Port Adelaide jumper. Darren Smith. So too there is Windsor. Spiro Malakelis. And David Green comes in and kicks it forward where he's got Wakeland.
Wakeland, plenty of time. Goes long to Lewis, who's moved to full forward, dropping back was Lees. Can't control it. Carter will relieve.
Central trainers have called for a stretcher, so play should stop.
Knock of heads. Stevens is still in the hands of the trainer. Ball in the middle of the ground. Jonas is now telling the umpire. Play on with Rohan Smith to Darren Smith. And nearly the grab. The recovery is good. The beautiful give to Anderson, who should walk in, but the pressure was magnificent. And Scotty Lee will take it out of bounds. Darcy it was. Oh, he's kicked a magnificent goal. It looked out to me.
Oh, that's hurtful, isn't it? Now, what happened? Peter Jonas ran out to the middle, sent out by Alan Stewart to tell the umpire that the stretcher was called and play must stop. Now, that ball, was it out, was it not out? The boundary umpire was right there. We had a fair shot, but Scotty Lee thought it was out. Now the stretcher comes out. This little buggy, owned by Dermot Brereton and Des Smith. It's a ripper, isn't it? But you don't like a suit used in this fashion. Now, play must stop when they've called for a stretcher. Now, Alan Stewart would be furious that play didn't stop and Port Adelaide get a goal out of all of that.
Well, the central runner was ejected from the ground. He was trying to make the point that the game should stop. But I reckon
no, but he's not allowed to talk to the umpire, Stephen. The captain must. And that's what the umpire was saying, get off the ground.
I'm trying to support your argument by saying simply that Peter Green was flattened on grandstand wing a couple of weeks ago and was injured, and then the play against Norwood came back on top of him. So they've probably got those vivid memories in their mind and don't want it to happen again with Scott Stevens.
That's right. That's right, but the runner can't tell the umpire a cracker.
Well, it'll be the first time in years they've never said anything to them. It's been going on for 100 years. Kevin Chambers in the middle. In fact, it's Pfeiffer. Puts the ball down. Remind ourselves of the score, 4-11 to 3-6. 11 points in it. Port Adelaide get it forward, but only as far as the Central District boys who work it well through Cotton. Right up to the line, and they've got one straight away. 6.5 minutes into the third term. Just what the doctor ordered for a Bulldog fan. They bounced back very quickly to that Darcy goal.
Jared Cotton in the first quarter took a bone-crunching knock from teammate Wakeland. I was just worried about his impact on the game after that. He has drifted out of it for the last 20 minutes or so, but now he explodes back into the game on the left foot, just lobs it to the point of the square. It was a good intelligent kick into the breeze, kept it low and just lobbed it and let it roll through.
An important goal to the Bulldogs. Didn't want to fall behind. A 5-point margin, exactly what it was at half-time. The knock by Arnold. Healy goes high and wide. The race is on. Lees, beautifully done, Ingerson. The work by Anthony Ingerson to come from behind was spot on.
Shouldn't overlook the fact that Central are going to miss Stevens. He's been pretty productive through the midfield. Plenty of pace. On the left of screen is Ray Windsor. Stevens had had 14 possessions. Bright sunshine at Football Park. Magnificent scene. Crowd are loving every moment of this absorbing duel. Up it goes towards Ingerson. If he could get it inside, he had Cotton. He's not going to do so, and Michael Wilson finds the line. 8 minutes in.
Ray wins it, takes a rest. Scott Hodges, of course, is gone from full forward. And Alan Stewart looking for balance in his side.
An important third term. The Magpies kicking with a 1 or 2 goal breeze. A quick kick, Waterhouse spent a bit of time on the bench in that second term. Leads in the race, tries off the ground, can't do it. Green, beautifully knocked out of his hand. And another ball up.
And I guess just to go back to that Stevens and Brian Lees thing, we see two already injured players there, Peter Green in the middle and Craig Potter on the right. Wonderful commitment from both players, wasn't it?
Kellis poured into attack. McKinnon got the drop. Beautifully done, a raid, and the tackle from Anderson was spot on. McKinnon has got McGowan all by himself, will take a mark. And that is unfortunate for young Michael Wilson, a 25-metre penalty.
Umpire said he got there late, fair enough too. But he had to give a contest, didn't he?
Ricky McGowan, possession number 19. Magnificently short-circuited this time by Darren Mead. Switches the play, just slightly from the side of the boot, and probably to his benefit. That should also be 25 then. Oh dear. Different umpire maybe. Still, it was on. This is Stephen Carter at halfback, far side. And Port Adelaide are being pushed wide. Carter's kick probably travels 50 metres. Tough one to keep in play. Has Paul done it? No, the umpire's calling for a boundary throw-in.
Interesting. Central District are now forcing Port Adelaide to go wide. You have a look at Port Adelaide's forays. They're all going around the wing and through the pockets and half forward.
Arnold, beautifully crumbed by Smith. Ginniver can't control it. Over the top of Smith. Umpire play on. Darcy with the ball. The tackling has been red hot all day.
It's an honest effort, isn't it? You can tell when players are going through the motions, they really don't apply a tackle with vigour. They just put a hand on them or scrag them. These guys are wrapping them up full-bodied and banging them into the ground.
You need against the Magpies. They do it from the start to the finish. Smith gives it to Darcy, has time. Kicks very wide to Anderson.
Wide again, we keep saying that, wide.
And that contest between Anderson and McKinnon has been a good one. And again, we see the shot of the 3 recruits for the Bulldogs.
Wouldn't they be important players if they were fit out there today?
Well, I tend to think Jim Wine would be probably more beneficial with his pace and ball-getting ability. Ginniver with the ball on the left, into attack, but Scotty Lee intercepts, gets hit high, and Michael Abbott says, take the free kick. Potato.
The agitator has a look at Brian Herrera, who's incidentally gone to full-back to pick up Darren Smith, now on centre wing. Just being outnumbered through the half-forward line, Central. Michael Wilson's there with Cotton, but there are a couple of Port players on hand. It makes it pretty tough when it's 1 versus 3. 35 plays 30, 11 minutes into the third term. And of course our coverage going right throughout this state of South Australia and the Northern Territory. Hope you're enjoying it.
Ginniver with a quick kick. Waterhouse just underneath that. Takes a simple chest mark. Beautiful kick right or left foot, this time on the right. The lead from Anderson was cut off by Lee. And the umpire quick with the whistle on that occasion.
Central have done a wonderful job of just slowing the flow of Port Adelaide. They've gone into trench warfare now. They're really just bottling it up.
Paul, Arnold, probably had the best in ruck at this stage. No real dominance.
Bottle it up. Look at it. It's just, this is a stab of Scotty Hodges sitting on the bench. And it's just got Alan Stewart's game plan written all over it. When they've got the charge of the ball, we're just going to bottle it up and slow them down, scrag them and stop their running game.
The win not much to speak of. 12 minutes into the third term. The Magpies by 5 points. Beautiful tackle. Girdham, the quick kick. Schwert can't get it away, and the free kick in the end will go to Schwert.
Just hanging onto the leg. McGowan, isn't he playing a game back in the centre? Ricky McGowan, 20th possession. Rohan Smith can cut sides apart, gets flattened. John Abbott put him down, and they'll take a free down the field. It'll be taken by Darren Smith.
And he's taking his number 2.
It's not well, Darren Mead. He should come off with the blood rule. Short pass has found Stephen Carter, 40 metres out.
Mead comes off with the blood rule. Abbott's been reported in only his 2nd game this year. And you just think about little things in a game of football that really ignite the opposition, and that could be one of them.
Costly. It's a goal. It is costly. So while Darren Mead has a sore nose, the most important thing is that Port Adelaide get another goal on the board. 13 minutes in, it's 5-11 to 4-6.
Stephen Carter gets his third for the year. They love kicking goals, the Port Adelaide backmen. Fiarchi's got amongst them this year with 4. Lees has 3, so they love coming off a half-back line or out of the back pocket and kicking goals. But Abbott will feel good about letting the right hook connect. But Alan Stewart, I'm sure, will be furious at that lack of discipline.
No question about that. The Magpie machine, 11 points in front. Mead takes it out of the air. Poole it was. The quick give. The kick along the ground. Lee can't control it. The Magpies just starting to crank up a gear. Beautiful pickup by Melachillis. Gives it to West. West the quick give to Smith. Inside. Anthony Melachillis can't take it. Now back to West. Can he kick it? Doesn't bend around and through for a behind.
I was just watching David Green tracking down Robbie West, and he looked very tired. So unless he can control that number 29 on screen, Port Adelaide are going to be well set up in the remaining 45 minutes.
David Green, he's only played, what, 9 or 10 senior games this year. He hasn't played one for, what, 4 or 5 weeks. And this intensity is going to find him out.
He's done a pretty good job so far. Scott Lee at half-back, got it from the kick-in. Now towards centre wing. That's a good take on centre wing. Not paid, though. Straight into the arms of the man we're talking about. Should have been a mark. Everybody looked around as if to say, why not? Brian Lee's now at half-back and finds his best mate, the boundary line.
I think he's got a few other best mates out there. George Fiarchi, Stevie Carter, Port Northeast.
Not right there and then with Simon Lewis or Anthony Ingerson breathing down his throat. Live from Football Park. Magnificent stadium, this when it's full. Football Park in South Australia. 5-12 to 4-6. Quick kick away. Right under the interchange gates here on centre wing, and it goes across.
This is one game, Stephen, that really has captured the imagination of the public, isn't it?
Certainly has. Central District.
In their first grand final, Port Adelaide gave for their 33rd.
The Bulldogs, with Wakeland and Lewis in front of the big sticks. They can't get it there. Now it's through Darcy. Darcy kicks to an open space with Francis on the lead. Beautiful take, but he's swamped by Laird. The recovery from Port Adelaide is exceptional. Off the ground now, Rohan Smith to Anderson. Gets caught. Now the Bulldogs through Healy. The quick give to Girdham. Inside McKinnon, get run down by Rohan Smith. Yes, he does. Play on. Junifer ends up with the ball. Throws out to Carter.
Some worrying signs for Central there because Port Adelaide are there in numbers. Inside half forward. Waterhouse had it spoiled away as he tried to take the second grab at it. Central defence is on red alert, and so they should be, because Melachillis has kicked another one. They're just starting to get a little edge, aren't they? 16 minutes into the third term. The powerful plant in the middle of the ground there just turned it over. McKinnon couldn't do anything with it. And at 16 minutes, they've got their 6th goal on the board.
I thought the effort here by Girdham was terrific. Look, that was all bar a mark. Girdham launched himself at it. The handball came from D. Smith. And look at this. Tony Melachillis picks it up, point-blank range, bangs it right through and kicks his first.
Fans from both sides getting involved. Darren Mead just about to come back on. 6-12 to 4-6. Ballooned out to 18 points the difference. In Central District, well, the alarm's ringing. They need to get on with the job. Geneva, it's tough to do so when there's so much class about this Port Adelaide outfit. Melachillis got it from Tim. Now pushes it up to where Darren Smith probably could have taken it. Gets it to West. Again, a tough one to take. They're first at the footy now, the Magpies. Central is starting to chase the jumpers. Splits it open. Bayonets up, and they are charging now. Port Adelaide, they're doing it well. Waterhouse, who gets his second.
And I said a moment ago, Stephen, when Abbott biffed Mead right on the nose, there are things that ignite an opposition side, and that's one of them. When you just get one like that, and Port Adelaide went into overdrive, Carter kicked the goal. When that happened, they were 6 points down and in the game. Carter gets a goal, they're 12 points down, and then suddenly Melachillis gets one, Waterhouse explodes, and it's a 4-goal game, and they're working real hard.
Pfeiffer sends the Port runner off the ground. Ingerson in ruck. Healy, a bit more drive from their wing. Scott Stevens is in the change rooms after that heavy knock. And the Port Adelaide on ballers, particularly Ginniver and Miller-Kellis, making it difficult. Lee with a quick left footer over the top. The chance. Cotton, he's got wide. McGowan, the give. Now Healy. The left foot is a beauty.
Oh, it's a ripper kick
to Lewis.
What a ripper. Now Healy hasn't had a great deal of the action today. 7 kicks, 5 handballs by his standards. Not up to it, but that kick just epitomises what that youngster's all about. 21 years of age, he can keep it 2 metres off the ground and hit a player running at him from 50 yards. Very, very few players ever have that skill.
Simon Lewis directly in front, but the kick is a shocker. No confidence and out of bounds on the full.
He just jagged at it, didn't he? Simon Lewis hasn't played a lot of football this year either.
Partly the pressure of the occasion and the pressure of the Port Adelaide defence, I suspect. Despite a set kick, the brain's gone a bit fuzzy. Well done by Lees. Miller-Kellis. Or was it Ginniver? It was Ginniver. So much time now, Port Adelaide. Wilson thumps it up there. The way they're going at the moment, Port, someone will snaffle this from the middle of the pack. Not this time, Ingerson. Pyman's in there. A free kick's been paid. And the Bulldogs are going to get a cheap one inside half-back.
There was some roughhouse action in there. I think the umpire did very well to get in and pick out a free kick.
David Green. Nothing there except Tony Darcy. Darcy's done well. 25 possessions, picks out a player in pool.
They've been damaging possessions. That's the thing about him.
So I think they've won the wings. Pool up towards full forward. In this little burst, they've cut them apart, haven't they? Just blown the game open with 4 quick ones.
That's what Port Adelaide do in finals, or they have the ability to do.
Laird out of defence, finds the skipper in Girdham, backs up beautifully, drills it through the centre of the ground to find McGowan. McGowan is upended. Just go back and take your kick.
Stephen Williams was terrific.
Schwert wants it.
Conway coming on.
The Bulldogs just falling down across half forward at the minute, and really do need to get the ball on very quickly.
I suspect they might put Wakelin out to half forward and Conway to a forward pocket or full forward. Just try and let Wakelin get into the game with lures. 2-pronged attack perhaps.
A congested centre half forward region for the Bulldogs. McGowan with the kick. To that. No, it can't. So through for a behind. And the Bulldogs going to 4-7-31. Trailing the Magpies 7-12-54.
David Green starts to wilt on West. Maybe Schwert would be the man ideally suited to take over that role.
The famous Port Adelaide surge. You could set your clock by it. Schwert did well. Cotton panicked just a little. I think he might have lost the ball in the sun also, to be fair to him. Darcy swung around and Delaney again finds that very good friend, the boundary line, the one that Lee's found just before. Now here's Jack. He wouldn't be resting on his laurels as Central make a change. Arnold comes off and Conway comes on, and Greg Phillips monitors all of that.
Of course, Stephen, if Port Adelaide win today, John Carl equals Jack Odie's record of 10 premierships.
Masterful performance, isn't it? Not there yet, though. This Bulldog outfit fought back, of course, in that second semi to get within 2 points, so they're not done with. Ingerson can't keep it in play. 7-12 plays 4-7 on ABC Sport. The grand final live from Football Park between the Dogs and the Pies.
A little one for the trivia buffs, Tricky. Jack Odie's 10th was John Carl's first coaching job in a grand final, and of course Jack Odie beat him.
The Magpies just on a bit of a roll at the moment through Fiachi. And that familiar left foot. Can't take it. Was Darren Smith. Ryan Herrera takes it over the boundary line. 23 points the difference. The Bulldogs need a couple of goals. Smith does the ruck work. Pyman onto the ground. Beautiful hands by Anderson to Miller-Kellis. Throws it in the air. And in the end, Daniel Healy takes a fine grab.
Just the 12 possessions. He's got a big future, Daniel Healy. We've seen him in so many games this year. Cut sides apart. Good in the air, just like Brian Lees was then. Partly smothered kick. McGowan. Healy. Laird. McKinnon. just sneaking up the ground a little. Has a look now at Wakeland. Loves to leap at the ball. Does so there. Fiacci presses it down. Cotton. Delaney. I tell you what, off the ground inside half forward, Central a shot at the moment. They just can't get one off the deck. And Port Adelaide once again repel. It's like a big rubber band back there. Malakellis, Tony type. Delaney, watch out, Roger. He'd be very careful of that chin of his. Spiro Malakellis this time. Tackled and should go for holding the ball. No, they squeeze it out. Anderson, only as far as McGowan.
McGowan, can he take it? Well backed up by Anderson. Caught was Pyman, didn't have it off the ground as Darcy. Can he keep it in? Should do comfortably. Takes it with one hand magnificently, and just the short kick to Darren Smith. Punch from behind was a raider. Now loose, Stephen Williams sidesteps. The quick give to Wilson. The tackling is spot on. Spiro Malakellis throws it onto his boot. And straight out of bounds.
Centrals are toughing it out. They really are applying vigorous tackles. They're staying with their Port Adelaide opponents. They've got to stay in touch by three-quarter time.
Yes, they've lifted, but it's just a little late in terms of stopping that Port surge. They're trying to match it. They knew it would come, but the horse is a long way out of the gate. Ginniver picks one off every single time. He's very good, Tim Ginniver.
I looked at the scoreboard before that, and they were 23 points down, and I thought, yep, well, they've been there at quarter time, and they fought their way back, Central. But a goal here would really make the challenge in the final term for the Bulldogs a tough assignment.
Not beyond them, though. I know that Alan Stewart reckons that Ginniver is the man to stop, and they haven't been able to do it very well, and Francis in front of goals has missed. So a let off for the Bulldogs. We're on the doorstep of time on, and they get a breather.
You see Scott Stevens, a man who collided heavily.
And he knows he'll take no further part in this match.
Daniel Healy, a fine grab. A good contest with Rohan Smith.
Looks like he's got a headache, doesn't he, Scott Stevens?
A short kick to McGowan. A lot of work for the Bulldogs. Goes short to McKinnon over his head. Cotton. Slightly pushed forward. Schwert hands. Just can't quite grab it due to the pressure from Port Adelaide. The short kick. Malakellis to his brother in Spiro. He sidesteps one and puts it through. He does. His first. And the Magpie machine just roll on for their eighth. Having a look at that. Again, the tackle by Wilson was beautiful. Maybe a bit high on Schwert. Well, not maybe, was. But the kick was good. And Francis, it was in the end, kicks his second within 2 minutes.
All of a sudden, it's 30 points the difference. 8-13 plays 4-7. And Port Adelaide have exploded in this third term. Ingerson, a rare exit from centre square. Gets it up towards half forward. Quick kick forward by Wilson into the path of Carter. Healy's out there. No support though. Port Adelaide are in the numbers, symptomatic of the day out. And I think that ball might have gone across the line. Now there's a free kick going Central's way.
Alan Stewart, Peter Jonas just having a chat. Of course, Peter Jonas, a great player for the Bulldogs. Coach Alan Stewart.
Temptation he would have would be to put his best players in on the ball at the moment and see if he can get some drive, manufacture something. Fiacci, and by that I mean McKinnon, and I mean Lee, trying to make something happen. At the moment they're backward of centre. Carter, McGowan. The one thing about Alan Stewart is he's shown enormous faith in them so far. Roger Girdham just gets away. The pumping legs are very tired. Up towards Conway, crashes the pack. Someone also will be hurt at the bottom of that. Lees. Shoveled forward, and Port Adelaide once again. Very elastic back there, aren't they? Well taken by Ginniver inside. Wonderful vision to Anderson, a little slips catch. Couldn't quite take it in terms of a mark. Got it to Delaney, though, and he in turn finds a Darren Smith, and happily for Brian Herrera, he can go off the line and ease some pressure.
The Port Adelaide defence right on top. And Scott Stevens again. League. Bit of ice to Girdham. The numbers are there. In the back, the crowd call. And not to be.
It's not unusual to have a few bags of ice on hand when you're playing Port Adelaide. Well, I can tell you one thing, having been down into their rooms over the last couple of years, every time the Magpies have played Central, they've had a few bags of the stuff out themselves. Tough, crunching affairs between the two. Central, to me, at the moment, just look a little tired. And Jack Carr looks a little anxious still. And Greg Phillips on the left. Well, he looks like he's been out in the town for 4 nights. Bounce down on centre wing, Ingerson, Jennifer. He's always there, Timothy. And Stephen Schwert, the hooter, finds the boundary.
The Bulldogs, they need a couple of goals, is an understatement. They trail. The tap to Williams. The quick kick onto his boot, straight down to Brian Herrera, but he's got nothing.
Oh.
Goes short, can't take it. And Tim Ginniver is in everything at the moment, just sets it up beautifully. Melikelis, Tony it is, goes straight for the goal front, and Clive Waterhouse from behind takes a ripper.
Magnificent crowd appreciate it. Waterhouse just drifted across the back. He's like a jumper. Boing. And then has a little bit of charisma in just flicking the hair out of the eyes. So Clive with a couple, has a look at the northern end. And I've got a feeling that again they've let Central off the hook. Clive's not happy about it. 29.5 minutes gone in the third term. 8-14 plays 4-7. They've doubled the score. Not insurmountable, but you just wonder where the spark's going to come from. Reimer's kicked in that time and found Healy. He can provide a spark. But for one so young, it's a tough gig. Well done by Poole. Wasn't that magnificent? Very athletic and very capable. Stephen Williams ends up with the ball, and Scott Lee's playing a blinder. Doing very well. Tagged out of it that time. Couldn't do much with it. Under pressure, aren't they? Pyman. Extreme pressure. It's like a pressure cooker, but he's just taken the ball with a bit of luck. And by luck, I mean he dragged it back in once it went away, and that's deadly. In the meantime, the ball's at half forward with Michael Wakeland. Forced wide, Conway uses the body and takes a good one. Number 33 for the Bulldogs. Mark Conway from Country Victoria. Left leg, thumps it right up to the head of the square. If they've got enough time to take a mark down there, it goes off someone's nose. I think McKinnon can't kick it off the ground. Second effort at it's okay. The Port Adelaide defence, wouldn't you know it, they close it down once again. And that's it for the third term, and a wonderful turn from Port Adelaide. They finish it at 8-14, which means that they kicked 5 goals 3. The Bulldogs kicked 1-1 in that term, and you just had the feeling that from the time that man on screen, John Abbott, gave Darren Mead one, Port Adelaide put the foot on the accelerator, changed gears, and in a class of their own, they went away. So at three-quarter time, it's not over, but Central District with a monumental task in front of them against a seasoned campaigner. In Port Adelaide, the score at three-quarter time is 8-14 to 4-7, and the action is exclusively with ABC TV Sport.
And as I recover an earphone from the floor, I'll introduce Michael Aish. And Michael, they went bob-eyes, the doggies, didn't they?
Well, they did, and you know if you're going to match it with Port Adelaide, you just have to sustain every contest, and unfortunately they came out at half-time and they just weren't seen.
No, and a significant thing, Abbott goes for a punch on me, gets reported, FAD, and West kicks a goal, turning point. Game's nearly over.
Well, it is, and they're 31 points behind. They're really going to struggle as we see some of the highlights in this second term. Ingerson takes a fine grab, but they really have fallen down across half forward. They've had nothing there. Lewis has found it very difficult to get into it. George Fiasci, on the other hand, along with Waterhouse up forward, but their defence with Delaney northeast have been superb.
Absolutely magnificent, hasn't it? And I suppose you've got to also take into account that Stevens is off the ground now. Scotty Lee mucks up here badly. Darcy. Well, it was out of bounds, I guess, and we've got the pictures there to prove it, but doesn't matter, does it? No good arguing with the umpire. A retrieval goal, but didn't do much good in Mead. Best man on the ground.
Well, the Bulldogs just are struggling, particularly with the defence. Maybe a bit high on Pyman there, but that's Port Adelaide. They bullock the ball forward as Melikelis gets the goal, And Waterhouse, well, hasn't he got some talent all the time in the world? Just turns one way, then the other, and puts through a beautiful goal.
Yes, he's fantastic. And when I mean best man, I mean best big man on the ground. Me, there's been better players than him, obviously, but in tight and around the packs, they've been done like a dinner central, and that's Port Adelaide's trademark, Michael. And I just, where are the dog runners? They went to sleep for a quarter, half that quarter.
No question about that. And if Centrals were going to win, they had to really maintain their hold on Darcy, West, Ginniver, Melakillis, all those sort of guys. There's Clive Waterhouse again.
Now, Alex Stewart was saying, hang on, fellas, we've just got plenty of run in our legs. We've got to keep running. It's not beyond us. It's only 6 goals we need to kick this quarter and keep them down. He's playing all the positives up, and he's saying, right, we've done it before in the second semi. We got back within 2 points. Let's have a go today. Let's keep the forward lines open. Let's keep running into the forward line, and let's have a real red-hot go. So he's playing the optimist, I think, at the moment, because Stephen Williams in the middle, late in that second quarter, really started to get on top and dominate, and Port Adelaide are just pushing the ball forward, and their forwards are having a field day.
Yes, well, there's a lot of the ball going into their forwards, Michael, but would you take the risk on Ingerson at centre-half forward to just try something different?
Well, there's no question that you have to do that. We said that their forward lines weren't functioning. You've got Conway that hasn't done a lot, Lewis that's been struggling. He's not really a goal-kicking centre-half forward, so Coach Alan Stewart does have to throw the team around a bit. Anthony Ingerson can do the spectacular. He does struggle down a little bit.
And Scotty Stevens off the ground, and have a look how this happened. A very committed effort by Lees and Stevens. Lees got up quickly, but Stevens he got the short trip to the boundary line on the golf cart. Have you been able to see how he is on the boundary line? Obviously a bit of concussion, David.
Well, Neville, I didn't quite catch what you said, but I must say to you, down here on the boundary line, the Bulldog fans are in a roar. They're just cheering their team on. They're willing them on. And you just wonder how much finals experience does play in these matters. I think Port Adelaide have beaten them 7 times straight. There's a psychological advantage for sure. But the Bulldogs, their fans are revved up, their players are revved up. Stevens will take no further part in this match, by the way. You won't see him again at all. Conway has just come on. He needs to make an impact.
Okay, there's Alan Stewart, the job ahead of the Dogs. And Michael, quickly, Wakeland, he's the sort of player that could turn this game forward, but he needs more space, doesn't he? He's got to open it up for him.
He does, but he also needs the Bulldog midfield to really control the ball like Port Adelaide are, get the ball down to him quickly where he can get on a lead and have a good shot for goal.
And out of the centre, Ginniver around the ground. He's been a great captain today, hasn't he?
Absolutely marvellous. If there's a crumb to be got, he will be there marshalling the troops. He is tremendous.
Okay, buckle yourselves up for the final quarter. I don't think Port Adelaide can lose it from here. But Central, the chance for their first. They've got to kick 6 goals and keep Port Adelaide scoreless. Stevens, Teague will lead you through it.
Well, I'll take you to task. They can lose it. It's unlikely, but they can lose it. You would have said the same of the Eagles at three-quarter time last year, wouldn't you, when they were in control? And Port Adelaide stole that one. Will we see an irony here this afternoon? It's not beyond Central. They came rattling home in the second semi-final, but at 8-14 to 4-7, they need to put some petrol in the carburettor very quickly. Right in the middle of the ground. Ingerson does battle with Poole. They aren't the 2 who started in there, but they're the 2 who are going to finish. Anderson swung into the middle also. Kick to half forward. Stephen Williams is there, does it okay. And Rick McGowan, to his great credit, has tried to be everywhere. You can't cover those sort of incisive movements inside half forward. Coming up for his 14th possession, Stephen. He'll put it right to the square. Good looking kick. At the back, Darren Smith, not quite. He's still got hold of the ball though, and it's called a jump ball.
Darren Smith, just from the side, wrapped it up reasonably comfortably there. Just no contest. Around the body on the left was that man. Out of bounds on the full, so we're 1 minute into this final term, and the Bulldogs would like a couple of quick ones.
Well, I was just about to say, you wouldn't call me Plato for it, but I got a feeling that if Central would have any chance, they have to kick the first goal, the first couple maybe in this last term. Stephen Williams is going to deny them of that though, because as he wheels around and pokes it up to the southern end, it goes across the face of goals. I thought he was going to do okay there, but just started it out in the wrong spot. We've still got a fraction of breeze from right to left. And it went across the face of goals, out of bounds on the full. It remains 31 points the difference.
Scott Lee had plenty of work to do in defence. Goes to the outer side. Can't take it as Healy. Laird picks up the crumb, but the Magpie on ballers are everywhere. Smith kicks off the ground into an open space as Mead. Scott Lee will just take that over the boundary line. So the Magpie crowd can just sense maybe another victory. There's a couple of die-hard Magpie supporters. Smith throws it away. Umpire says play on. Williams out to Darcy. On the left, Reimers and Waterhouse off the ground with Francis, can't kick it. And Reimers in the end just throws it over the line.
It's a desperate defence down there at the moment for Central District as Neville Roberts joins us for a bit of a talk. And Neville, you're feeling about it? Port Adelaide just have a better calm, don't they?
Yes, they got away to a terrific start, and the only mistake they made was in front of goal. Other than that, they really haven't done anything wrong, have they? This sort of desperation's absolutely typified them all day. Too much experience.
A little throw out from Francis to West, who's finally given the slip to David Green. The ball's only going to fall into the arms of Reimers. Reimers has done okay at half-back today. With his 18 possessions and 10 marks, he's been very good. Stephen Schwert, quick kick forward. The ball goes across the line.
I get the feeling that Port Adelaide are a stronger, fitter, more attuned side, and I guess it gets back to that second semi-final win, doesn't it? Only 38 premierships from second semi-final, only 14 from a preliminary final win.
Smith with the ball. Ginniver and Williams. Another two of the small brigade for the Magpies, always on the bottom of the pack.
Well, they have, and Malakellis in and out of the game, and Rohan Smith and so on, but for the Dogs, they haven't had many of them, have they? Cook hasn't found a lot of the footy. They haven't been able to link up at all from the day. A real failing of theirs.
Ingerson with the tap. Magpies out through Darren Smith, but they just seem to be able to get the ball cleanly, unlike Central's.
And what Central really need now is somebody to actually put their hand up and really lead them. Just do something spectacular. Head down, bust a pack, take a big mark, do something. But someone's got to put their hand up if there's any chance at all.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. And you have the impression that, I know it's an if button or maybe, but if Jim Wind was out there, they would have been better around the packs where they've been butchered today by Port Adelaide.
No doubt about that. And even the Greens off a half-back line, you know, those sort of players link up so well, as I repeat myself, but gee, they haven't had anyone cross a line with the footy.
Port Adelaide just closing it down as we see the attendance today, a capacity crowd of well over 45,000 people. And they've had a bit of a dousing a couple of times with a shower, but other than that, it's been a great day to watch footy. McKinnon to the middle, always finds a player. This time it's Scott Lee, inside half forward he goes. Central District take the mark. Number 44, Jared Cotton. A youngster who took an awkward fall earlier in the game, if you recall. And speaking of awkward, there's that kicking style of his, Conway. This is what Neville's talking about. Needs to take a mark down there. Give them something. Not this time. Lees. Spiro Malakellis to Ginniver. Too much time, experience, and a calm head. Spiro Malakellis again. And Ginniver to half forward. They've carried it almost the length of the ground. West. Francis is in there. Central are under siege. David Green couldn't take it. And the little kamikaze, Roger Girdham, throws himself in there.
They've just had too much, haven't they, all day? Peter Green looks on. What a heartbreak for him. They've had 76 more possessions, Port Adelaide. And they've had 21 shots, 10 more scoring shots. You don't need any more stats than that. They've had the ball and they've had it in front of goal.
Arnold just doing some warm-up exercises. McGowan been one of the Dogs' best. This is where they've fallen down. And it's a free kick picked out to Michael Wakeland. Ryan Lee said he had me first. The lead on by Windsor. The kick was spot on. The lead was good. 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle as Abbott comes off the ground. Damien Arnold to take the spot back at centre-half forward.
And without making too much of it, I made the point at three-quarter time, Michael. Abbott's effort for that FAD, a real turning point in this game.
Windsor with the ball. Kicks just inside 50. And it is a lovely kick. The umpire doesn't move, puts it through, so the Bulldogs go on to 5-7, a 37, still trailing the Magpies, 8-15-63.
So Wakeland, just a goal in the goal square in that second quarter. He won't ever forget that in his life. Media won't let him. The kick-in's good though. And Windsor has spent a great deal of the quarter on the bench. Kick Chu, he's played most of his footy life in defence.
Indeed, indeed. Started the day at full-back, 8:15 to 5-7. There's some life in the Bulldogs yet. Poole with some muscle, gets it out of centre square. Rohan Smith, as is often the case, gets on the end of it. Everything they do, Port Adelaide, is clean and concise, and now it's inside half-forward with Tony Malakellus. What about a response like that? That is a heartbreaking response if you're a Central fan, and more so if you're a Central player. Look around the ground, hands on hips, heads are down, and Port Adelaide have got them by the throat. 9:15 plays 5-7.
When I said earlier that Central needed to find a leader, someone to put their hand up, I was really speaking of them doing this sort of thing. Something spectacular, something out of the ordinary to really give them some adrenaline. It's only one question to ask. Where was Malakellis' man, and why wasn't he chasing him? Poor in a grand final. Poor effort, poor attitude. 7.5 minutes in. The Bulldogs in this position in the second semi. They came back to just lose by 2 points. The Magpies into attack again. Waterhouse, the punch from Reimers is good. Scotty Lee leads the race. Pick it up, but is swamped by Port players. Look at them there. You've had 3 of them, and no support.
They sense it. They know they've got another one looking them right in the face, and they won't lose it from here.
Arnold across the top, back onto the ground now. Stephen Williams, did he get one in the back? Yes.
He'll probably go out on this win. In there, battling hard. As what's he had today? 9 and 8. A veteran of some 268 games.
And his old man's record today under a bit of a shake. Foss Williams. Tony Darcy gets it at half-forward left, underneath the scoreboard. It reads handsomely for Port Adelaide, 9:15 to 5-7, and the time clock has 8.5 minutes on it. The curly locks of Darcy to Waterhouse. Clive needs to get a hold of the ball. Not enough pressure on him this time. Central District just allowing him to run, and that's hurtful because he gets it up towards the danger zone, right in front of the goals. McKinnon's going to be paid the mark. And he can't play that on, they'll have to take it back. 9:15 plays 5-7.
He's special, Waterhouse, isn't he? Peter Green and Jimmy Wine look on, and Jonas on their left. But Waterhouse, Hodges, Rohan Smith, Malakellis, Williams, they've always had too much scoring power for Central.
McKinnon with the ball to the centre, but Poole takes the simplest of grabs in front. He's got Lees on the side, just fanning off. Carter calls for it. Wakeland is his opponent, and that is just too easy. Very, very simple. Stephen Carter running from defence. They've done it all year, the Magpies. They've been through Northeast, Lees, Delaney, Fiacci. Now Stephen Carter is going to have a shot for goal. Kick from 55.
Oh.
He's kicked it like a defender. And if you're a forward, you're happy to see players come up the ground, kick like that, aren't you? But he's done a terrific job. He's got Wakeland to finish off the day. No mean effort for anybody.
Roy Laird carries the ball a good 50 metres back into play. Anderson was in the front spot. McKinnon's done okay. Can't take that one, though. And Hugh Reimers with plenty of zest in over the football, but just not quite the ability to do anything with it. Greg Phillips again with Jack Cale. Looks like he's spending all of this last term on the interchange bench. Probably wouldn't mind a run either, Jack. Looks reasonably fit. Marty McKinnon, quick kick, higher than it is long, right to the centre where Fiacci is lurking. George has been a little quieter in the latter part of this game, but early he was absolutely fantastic. Carter, Spiro Malakellis, flanked on the Port side by Darcy, now inside half forward. Waterhouse is there, spoiled to the front. Perfect structure by Fabian Francis. Couldn't take it. Anderson, well, he's got a couple of choices. Malakellis allows Darcy to play on, and if he's accurate, it will hurt Central very badly. Twist the knife. 10:15 to 5-7.
He's been pretty special, Darcy, hasn't he? Found plenty of the ball, 20 kicks, 13 handballs, but he really has hurt the Bulldogs with his run, and Girdham comes off on the boundary line. He's got blood streaming from one of those cuts that was stitched up last week. And he really, I think, at the end of the day, shouldn't have been out there. but the fact that he was is testament to his courage.
I don't think they've carried him, though, to be fair.
No, he's earned his way today, but just worried about having concussion, Stephen.
First crunching tackle was outstanding and set the scene, but that's not the reason they've lost.
No.
38 points in favour of the Magpies. 12 minutes into this final term. The Bulldogs, McGowan's tried hard. Anderson takes it out of there. Can't do anything with a pull. Now the Bulldogs through Scott Lee. The free leg to Wakeland, but Delaney chips in, does it well. Northeast will just pick up the crumbs and tap it towards the boundary line. And again, the Port Adelaide defence stands firm. And David, when you talk about the Port Adelaide machine and their recruits and Mellor-Kellis and West and that, but Anthony Darcy has been tremendous.
Been terrific, considering they've only got 10 players from the '94 grand final missing today. And you think the Eagles have a similar number and they finish second bottom. And Port Adelaide, yet again, in another grand final. They are a remarkable team.
So in the sunshine, remaining sunshine at Football Park in Adelaide, Lee gets it around the body. Not far enough, though, from the agitator. It's gone through for one behind. So 13 minutes into this last term, it's 10-16 or 10-15 to 5-8.
They peaked pretty well too, Port Adelaide. They lost, what, 4 out of 5 mid-year. Looked pretty ordinary, but haven't they peaked beautifully?
Delaney, the beautiful kick. 50 metres finds Carter. Now the runners, Lees. 10 metres in front of Cotton. 2 bounces. 3 bounces. He's on the 50. The ball just doesn't come back to him. Laird. But he finds Francis somehow. And look at the pace of Fabian Francis. Well, the build-up was fantastic. He can't quite put it through, but Port Adelaide on fire.
John Carr, we just saw him on the bench. Just a wry smile. I think he knows at this point that he's home. He's going to win his 10th premiership in 17 seasons with the Magpies.
Reimers kicks it back in. He's assuming the full-back duties at the moment. Perhaps he's not. He's actually picking up Waterhouse. But then again, it looks like Clive's playing up there. This is McKinnon on centre wing, called to play on. Stephen Williams is in there. Darren Smith, little tunnel ball. Back to primary school. Rohan Smith got it away. The umpire's having a part now. He's going to play a free kick. We've got trainers on the ground. We've got umpires going left, right and centre. We've got some booing from the crowd. It's all happening.
Darren Smith took McGowan too high over the line and the umpire saw it and fair enough, gave the free.
Rick McGowan, arguably Central's best now with 28 possessions. Spoiled forward, Conway. The big man can't do anything with it. Roger Girdham obviously wants to come back onto the ground and lead his side.
He's a terrific skipper, and so too Alan Stewart. I mean, I know they'll go away the losers today, but Alan Stewart will still go down in history as the most successful Bulldog coach.
A hippie look at the moment. The ball loose. Northeast gives it to Wilson. Just casually as you like, over the line.
What do you reckon? It's a bandana.
Something special, Roger Girdham. There's no question about that. Great leader for the Bulldogs. Pulls to do ruck work with Ingerson. Takes it out of the air. The crumb again, Fiachi. It's either Faraci, Mellor-Kellis, West, Williams. Now it's Stephen Williams. All the time in the world. Got no one to kick to. Goes long. Abbott leads in the race. Casually as you like. Whilst Mellor-Kellis thought he may have got away with that in the side, but the free kick goes to Abbott.
Just a bit soft, wasn't it, as Michael Wilson comes off the ground. And Roger Girdham still sits there in interchange, waiting to come on. Poole, acrobatic across the top. Tim Cook, quiet day for him, and that's hurtful because they really needed a small man to come on and take the game by the scruff of the neck. Just like McGowan took Lees by the scruff of the neck. Well, I thought it was the neck anyway. He's gone for holding the ball.
We'll have a look at it. He just went to ground. The tackle wasn't intentionally high, but he was slipping on the way down.
Well, the arm was underneath the shoulder, so it's a fair call. As Windsor takes it about 35, perhaps 40 metres out.
Mead comes back on. Coming off Darren Smith, so Mead looks like we'll go to centre-half forward. And Darren Smith will have a well-earned rest. Gets the warm applause of Port Adelaide fans.
Windsor kicked one earlier in the turn. Beautiful leg. Expert on the drop punt. 16 and a half minutes have elapsed in this final term, and Central get a bit back, albeit there's some boos of those very parochial Magpie supporters.
17 minutes. The Magpies by 32 points. Out of the centre was Cook. Lees just falls in his arm, a one-hander. And that is a great grab. 25-metre penalty. The crowd are enjoying us, particularly the Port supporters, of course. And Brian Lees, as easy as you like, over to Foster.
Richard Foster, right on the point at half-back to half-forward, and a little bit wider than the square. Look at this. Magpies are out and swooping. Spiro Malakellus to Anderson on the right leg, puts it up to within 20 metres of goals where Tony Malakellus is. Pretty tough down there for Abbott. He's got the support, though, of Rhyme. Well done by Malakellus, though. Pressure, superb. Puts it right on Abbott. As a consequence, it forces the error. Pryman's there, McKinnon's hurt. Anderson's still working. Finally, Tim Cook dives in over the footy and closes it down.
Malakellus, Spiro joins his brother in what will be Anthony's, I should say, second premiership for the Magpies. Mead to do ruck work. Abbott it was, gets the ball out to Schwert. Rohan Smith with him, goes over the line. Another boundary line throw-in. And the Magpies just running home.
Experience you wouldn't want if you were Peter Green or Jimmy Wine, just to be watching your team go down.
McGowan dives in over the ball. And they really have missed them. I guess as time goes on, they'll increase their depth and they'll be able to carry those sorts of absences. Although it's always hard when your key catalysts are missing. Reimers got it from Hereda and they track right across half-back. Far side, looked like Healy to Girdham. A central player's gone down there. And one Port Adelaide player was involved in it. And one's left lying on the ground.
Yes, George Fiacci had a bit to say. If you go to half-forward, I think Wakeland's taken him on and a couple of other players. But there's been a report, I believe, at half-forward. Port Adelaide's half-forward line anyway. And here we go. Just some energy being drawn.
Threatened to be explosive, didn't it? Now, that's all very well to be in a pose like that, but backward of the play, that ball was around about, I'd take a punt, 30 metres away when that incident took place.
We might just have a look at the left of frame. You'll see what happens here. And as Girdham takes the catch, young George, otherwise known as Piggy, was making his presence felt.
Waterhouse off, Darren Smith back on, the decision reversed. So Port Adelaide will take the kick through Stephen Williams. A lot of pushing and shoving. They're good at that. And McKinnon just takes his spot on Smith. The short kick will be cut off by Girdham. Quick to play on. The Shepherd was good. Comes wide. It'll be Smith and Schwert. And the backup, George Fiacci, not the crowd favourite, to Williams from 50, goes straight to the end of the square, and don't tell me he's kicked it. He certainly has, his first, and it is what would say the 21-minute mark, the 33rd premiership for the Magpies.
Yes, well, it's a dream finish for Port Adelaide. Fiacci gives off in that tussle before, and he gives to Stephen Williams, who from about 55 metres has a pop shot, and without trying to limit what he might do in the next 5 or 6 minutes, it might well be his last kick in league football. Not a bad exit, not a bad note to go out on.
21 and a half minutes into the last term. 11-16 to 6-8. Central will get a free kick from the midfield. Simon Lewis prepares to come back onto the ground. That's him, number 25.
They failed to get much out of their big men, have they, today?
Well, I was critical of the fact that they couldn't get much off the ground either. Dead ball at half forward. If we just have a look at the marks, head to head. Central are in front by a shade. They have 6 more for the day. And they've won the tap, so...
If you were debriefing your players after this match, it'd be hard to know where to start, wouldn't it?
I mean, we say experience is a wonderful thing and it gives you the advantage, but just in sheer effort and work, they've been outdone by Port.
Look, there's a theory, and Alan Stewart won't appreciate it yet, I'm sure, but that you have to lose one to win one. Now, it's a fairly cutthroat saying, but the feel that of a grand final is just so different, and these guys have now got themselves an opportunity, having lost one. I think it'll give them more of a raw edge to win one. Darcy now in the middle will take it. It's a pretty big game, isn't it? 33 possessions for Darcy. And it's on again, right on the far side. It's the roar you can hear.
Oh, there's some big... This is ridiculous now. Port Adelaide players are involved in it, and they might be protecting, but they'll pay the penalty.
Cook has the football, back at half forward. The entry's okay. Wins a drop what he should have taken. Wheels around, he already has two. That's a powerful looking leg with the aid of the breeze. It's just offline though and through for one behind.
And players are still mellowing around on the far side, but pretty serious rumblings on that side of the ground, and both players from both sides in it. And they might be lucky we didn't have a lot of video on that one. Smiles on the face of Stephen Williams. And why wouldn't you? Northeast to take the kick in, but not on coach Alan Stewart. His first grand finals with the Bulldogs. Rohan Smith will go short. Robbie West. Loose players for the Magpies. Darcy for his 34th touch. Goes short to Lees. They're doing what they like at the moment, the Magpies. So Northeast and Foster running. In the middle is West. Girdham can't run him down. A simple mark. Goes wide to Darren Smith. The kick, not a good one. Smith quickly onto the boot. Umpire says, you've pushed him in the back as you kicked it. Darren Smith just a nice little tap on the head. So thanks very much.
Won't appreciate that, Brian Harada.
And how's West's performance today? 24 touches. He's chipped in for a goal. A real performer, hasn't he? 6 premierships today for this man. And there's a host of them at Port Adelaide that have had 4s and 5s as well.
Darren Smith from right on 50. Launches himself at it. Puts it right up to the line. Plenty of Bulldogs back there. Reimers. High up amongst Central's best players, and here's Darcy again. Well, just about start engraving his name on the Jack Odie medal, I reckon.
He'd have to be a chance, wouldn't he? Kicked a goal in the 3rd, he's kicked 1 in the last, and he'd be a bit too far out to score. He'll kick from about 55.
Anthony Darcy. Way out there on half forward left. Anderson's in the box seat, smashed away from behind. Laird to Abbott. His handball finds a player out there in Healy. He dodges and weaves and then gets it around the body. Into a bevy of Port Adelaide players though. And again it screams into that full forward line. Short-circuited this time though by Cotton.
The game in hand, and Central running the ball out, presumably pretty easy, but they put Healy under so much pressure. He made a mistake, and then the ball comes back into the forward line. Fantastic work, Port Adelaide. I'll give you nothing. Just into time on by a minute. The Magpies well and truly home here at Football Park. We're live. The cameramen around the Port Adelaide bench. John Cale, Greg Phillips. No doubt ecstatic. Smith to do ruck. Girdham takes it out of the air, goes wide, will find Abbott. Abbott quickly onto the right, but got no one to kick it to. The ball goes over the boundary line in front of Stephen Carter. Gets a few taps on the back, and there they are. Jack still looking reasonably solid.
Licking the lips, I think he can sense the champagne.
Doesn't give much away, Jack, does he? The crowd chanting Magpies. West again. No question, my tip for the Jack Odie medalist. The umpire's down, says play on. Scotty Lee can't take it. George Fiarchi has been tremendous also. He's backed up now by Reimers. around the top with the ball and go short. And Anthony Ingerson will take the grab, 40 metres out.
Only 6 touches for the day, and one behind, which he kicked in the first couple of seconds of the game, and one wonders what might have happened in this game if that first one had gone through.
Ingerson,
would you back him?
well, not normally. The kick lays back, and he has dragged it, and he just doesn't, unfortunately, guide that ball down enough. Through for a behind.
Been a horror day for him, hasn't it? And one he'd like to learn from, probably, but sooner forget.
In fact, he's had a disappointing final series all up. But Port Adelaide are wonderful. They've done it well. Kick in. Fiat. Stephen Williams, head down. Tough little worker. He's got Darren Smith. Have a look at Lees out here. Lees put the foot on the accelerator. Really, the legs wouldn't go for him, though, so we got a quick kick, a right kick, and it went forward, and it's got a player down there in Mead. Darren Mead a chance to cap off a fine game, and indeed a fine season. Finished third in their Gary medal tally this year, and he's also got a very sore nose.
Yes, Darren Mead. He started very, very well. He's done a lot of work dropping back, supporting defence. He's cut off quite a few attempts to give the footy into to Windsor and to Wakeland and company, and overall a pretty good performer with 20 touches. He'd love to finish with a goal.
So Darren Mead is a skilled performer for a big man. He's got it, punches the air. Have a look at him. He is very excited. 11-16 turns into 12-16, and it's 6-10 for the Bulldogs.
Well, notably, Williams is the player that brought it into to Smith, and the rest is history. Watch the kick from Lees. Has a real look, and the pressure on him to get that ball back in front of goal was enormous. And straight after this, the Port Adelaide players, for the first time, have allowed themselves to acknowledge they're going to win.
Not long to go in the 1995 football season. The Magpies by 42 points, and they are still at it, hard and tough. Holding the ball, the free kick will go to the Port Adelaide player in Greg Anderson, and won't he be happy? His first in his career. Goes wide to Darren Smith. Over the top, all by themselves now. Darcy again with the ball inside. He's throwing it around. Rohan Smith has got Foster. They're going from one side of the ground to the other. Now George inside. Fakes the handball, goes long, and wrapped up in the last line of defence, Damien Arnold.
Dogs are a rabble at the moment.
I think they're certainly shocked, both physically and emotionally. It would have been a big week for them. There's been so much hype about them.
No,
despite...
you're glossing over it. I mean, there's no reason not to be chasing, putting pressure on and picking people up, regardless of the last couple of minutes of a grand final. I'd be very critical of that if I was Stewart, and something he ought not to let him forget.
Stephen Schwert just squirts it out towards the boundary line. Siachi reckons it should have been a deliberate call. Umpire, though, was on the blind side. We've played 30 and a half minutes of the final term of the 95 grand final. And the Magpies, well, they've done it again. Just bottled up inside that half-forward line, 12-16 to 6-10, and Alan Stewart right in the middle there.
His opposition coach, Jack Cale, would have the best record in Australia.
Scott Hodges, Clive Waterhouse. There's a bit of quality that's finished on the bench for them, just quietly. Just looking for the siren now, both sides, and so too the supporters. Doesn't matter how many they've got in the bag, they're still hungry for it, the Magpies, aren't they? Boundary throw-in, Arnold, Lee, he along with Reimers and McGowan, the best players for Central today. This is Darryl Poole, inside to Anderson. He drops the clutch and then goes away, puts it in towards half-forward. There's spare all over the place. Ginniver, he'll love to finish this one off, the diminutive little captain, and he's done just that. He loves it, Timmy, and the crowd love him too, particularly the black and white ones.
Timmy Ginniver. It's his first goal today. He's been pretty busy around the ground. He's had 21 and 8, and still got a bit of energy. Had to get around a player, and from 40 metres. Well, I don't really know whether I'd like to be on the end of that. But Timmy's pretty happy because
That's what they started for at the beginning of the year, and that's what they're going to get in a couple of minutes. The bounce down, only seconds left. Again, McGowan has tried hard, hasn't had a lot of support. And the Magpies, back-to-back premierships. John Carl, a very happy man, running out winners by 48 points. The Port Adelaide Football Cup are something special, and here's David Mackay on the boundary line.
Well, John, congratulations, a great feeling winning your 10th flag.
Tremendous, a lot of stress. I think the expectations of Port Adelaide this year, David, was very, very high, and only a premiership would have done, and the coach feels that. I felt it more this year than any.
Did you know that you've equalled Jack Odie's all-time record of 10 flags this year?
It doesn't really matter. I'm just pleased for all the Port supporters and the players and everyone involved in getting us there.
You've got a wonderfully loyal team around you. I think it's David Keys and Greg Phillips,
Brian
David
Fairclough,
Darryl.
Yes. Yeah, very, very happy. I'm pleased for my mother and everyone.
Now, well, you lost 10 players from last year.
Yes.
How do you keep rebuilding these Port Adelaide teams?
Well, it takes time, but we just keep at it, and it's a very good pattern, so we're pleased anyway, David.
I thought it was a great postscript, Tim Girdham, for kicking the last goal, wasn't it?
Tremendous.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Go and celebrate.
Well, Jack Taylor should be happy as well. 10 premierships in the bag, and I don't care what he says, Neville Roberts, that's a remarkable performance.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? The last time they won them in a row was 88, 89, 90. Then they got 92 and 94. And this is the 10th one in 21 years. So, and Jack, it's whilst he won't acknowledge it, I agree with you, Stephen. It's an unbelievable record. I mean, he has the best record in Australia, and he'll be coaching at the highest level next year because Port are going into the AFL next year, and that'll be announced Monday afternoon.
Well, there's a prediction for you. Port Adelaide, they've just capped off their year magnificently well as a lead into that. And Central District, well, they've got some sore spots down there. And David Mackay now is once again down to the boundary line with the losing coach.
It was a very difficult task to come and beat Port Adelaide on grand final day.
If you're in the competition and they're in the competition, you've got to beat them. So we had a job to do today, we didn't do it, so we're not good enough.
Your expectation level today coming here, you would have felt that you could have won.
Play every game to win, whether they're minor round games or grand finals, and I was very disappointed with how we played today.
Well, in the final analysis, you went in with Roger Girdham. We suspect he had concussion. He played a great game, and he wasn't responsible for your loss. But
no, Roger Girdham was fully fit for this game.
Was he?
He played with the same injury he's had for 6 weeks.
Right. What about the loss of Jimmy Wind and Peter Green and Craig Potter? They were instrumental.
You don't make excuses when you play the game of football. We're not here to make excuses. We're not here to be patronised. We're here to bloody win, and we didn't win.
So Alan Stewart, pretty emotional and pretty upset. Let's cross to Mark Oaston and the Premiership Trophy presentation.
Our first presentation is for the Jack Odie Medal, and the winner in 1995 is Anthony Darcy. If Anthony would come up onto the dais, Mrs. Mary Odie will make the presentation, the wife of the late Jack Odie. Anthony.
I'm a bit dumbfounded. Thank you very much. Thanks, supporters. All the boys. Thanks, Matt.
Anthony Darcy, the winner of the Jack Odie Medal. Well, it must be difficult for Alan Stewart and the boys. There's no consolation, is there, being beaten in a grand final, but congratulations to Central for getting here first of all. I'm sure the boys are bitterly disappointed, but you have done your supporters proud this year, and maybe next year will be Central's year. The Central District Footy Club can now leave the ground if they so desire. Give them one last round of applause. Now to the Premiership medallions, and I'm sure this will be fun. We'd like the players to come forward and accept their Premiership medallions. Number 4 is George Fiarchi. Number 5, Brian Lays. One of the stalwarts, number 7, Roger Delaney. Number 8, Greg Anderson. Number 9 is Anthony Darcy. Number 10, Stephen Williams. Scotty Hodges, number 11. Number 13, Rohan Smith. And what about this young man? Number 15, Michael Wilson. Tony Malakalis, number 22. Another man who's been around for a long, long time. Number 26, Richard Foster. So many of these players have taken part in grand finals and premierships before. Darren Smith is another one, number 28. One of the most exciting players in the local competition this year, Robert West, number 29. Number 30, Big Darryl Poole. Number 32, Paul Northeast. Bring on the power! Number 33, Darren Mead. I think Paul's going to have a big night. Number 36, Stephen Carter. Spiro Malakalis, number 40. Clive Waterhouse, number 41. And another very exciting youngster, number 46, Fabian Francis. Your captain, Tim Ginniver. And your coach, John Kyle. I'd now like the president of the SANFL, Mr. Max Bashir, to present the Thomas Seymour Hill Cup to the Port Adelaide Football Club. Tim Ginniver, the captain, would like to say a few words.
How's that?
All right. Tim, you want to say a few words?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank Centrals. I thought that it really added a fantastic spirit to the competition by them making the grand final, and a fabulous effort. Well done to Stewie and the boys. Secondly, it was a fantastic effort, but no effort goes without effort from these guys over here, our support staff, our coaches, our board, our members, and most of all the supporters. But I'd like to dedicate this win to the 40-odd blokes that played league footy for us this year and the family. Thank you very much.
Well done, Tim. And now for the LAC presentation. A very exciting time for the Port Adelaide Footy Club. This is the 33rd time they've done this. First of all, the photo, and then we asked Port Adelaide to celebrate around Football Park. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1995 premiers, Port Power.
Cheer the black and the white, honour the Magpies day and by night, live that loyal paradise, cheer the hustlers from the start, whether the odds be great or be small, we'll come out and win the
23rd premiership, Stephen. What a fantastic performance by them.
There's one dream fulfilled and another shattered. Obviously, Alan Stewart was a very, very disappointed man, and I'm surprised, Neville, he didn't actually keep them out there on the ground. They were invited, we should say, to leave the ground, and they took up the invitation and left, but might not have been a bad idea to stay out and absorb it, as tough as it is.
I think it would have been a great thing because, as you said during the commentary, that's the way to learn about the bitter retreat of losing. 13-18, 6-10, the Magpies the victors, and we're not far from saying goodbye, but before we do, we'd like to thank all the floor staff, crew, administration, everybody at the ABC for this fantastic presentation. We look forward to seeing you in '96.